Mankato, Minnesota, the home of the Minnesota State Mavericks Hockey Club, the best team in CCHA since reinstitution in 2021, hoisted the Mason Cup for the winning the CCHA postseason 3 times in the last 4 years. An absolute wagon of a hockey program, hosting Bowling Green hockey this weekend in a very important series for the young Falcons to try and liken themselves to the number 16 team in the nation. Hello, Falcon fans. Ben Korak here in Mankato, Minnesota at the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center, home of Minnesota State's men's and women's hockey clubs. This is a Falcon Media Sports Network production of Bowling Green Hockey. Every game of the season, home and away here on WBGU 88.1 FM, streaming on bgfalconmedia.com. Later on, you'll hear from Artie Abrego, Nathan Burkett, and Dan Ridenauer back in the Cooling Center studios for our pregame, our first intermission, our second intermission, as well as our postgame show. And for all BGSU sports news and updates, go to bgfalconmedia.com and BG_FMSN on Twitter X for all of that information. The Falcons coming off a 2-point weekend in their first homestand of the season, their third series of the CCHA season this week as well. Last week had a shootout and overtime loss to Bemidji State, just unable to score a fifth goal, coming back from down 2 in the third period of the first game and unable to hold on to a 2-goal lead in the second game. The Beavers took 4 out of 6 points available and sit atop the CCHA, just a point ahead of the Bowling Green Falcons. Before the game today, had the chance to talk to head coach Dennis Williams about last week's games against Bemidji at home, as well as some other questions about today's game. And here's what he had to say. You'll hear from Artie, Nathan, and Dan after we hear from Coach Williams right now. Coach Dennis Williams, coached third series of the CCHA season for you guys last week against Bemidji State. 2 extra time losses, just big things you want to improve on going into this weekend.
I think, again, it's always about consistency. You know, you're always striving to play a complete 60-minute game. Friday night against them, like I said, we played 2 or 3 periods well, and then Saturday, same thing. You know, and the other part would be for us to, continue to learn how to close out games. You know, Friday we came back being down 2 goals in the third, so felt good to get that extra point to where we were in the game, but to give up that extra point on Saturday, in fact, probably 2 extra points, we're not closing it out. Those ones kind of stink. So we're still, like I've said from the get-go, we're still in the learning stages. We're learning, and we have to continue to get better on it.
Yeah, you mentioned late games, but early games seem pretty solid, especially Quinn Emerson getting 2 goals last weekend, both the first goal of either game. Just what have you seen from his play recently, and what's got him on the goal chart this year?
Well, I think if you talk to any guys, the reason they have successes is they play an honest game. You know, if you look at a lot of our guys the first weekend, 2-3 weekends of the year, everybody was cheating. Everybody was playing into I always call it kind of an identity crisis of thinking who they are versus who they want to be and how they're playing. And for us, we were all playing like as if we were all Americans. And we started to get back into the identity of hard skill and grinding and making D's turn, and then let your offensive skill set take over. As a game, you start to wear down your opponent. Roll the tops of the circle. So Quinn just started playing an honest game again, and I think for that he got rewarded.
Yeah, very well coached, very talented Minnesota State team today. Just what's the message to, especially the younger guys, but the whole team now that you have a more veteran group that you're on in the road, and how they affect the game in so many ways?
Well, I think every game is tight in our league. Obviously, they're a good team. I don't think there is a bad team in the league. And you look at every game, it's probably a pretty good chance it's going to be a 1 or 2 goal game with an empty netter. Probably it's what I've seen every weekend. They played St. Thomas last weekend to 2 tight games. We played Bemidji to 2 tight games. Augustana plays teams to tight games. So we're going to have to be ready to battle for 60 because we learned last weekend, and when we play the way we should, I thought we dominated last weekend, and when we didn't, we got dominated by our opponents. So it's a tale of 2 tapes, and as I challenge the guys today, it's showing up and playing with consistency and grit. And even then, that doesn't mean you're going to win the hockey. It just gives you a chance to be in the game, and hopefully we can finish off a few more chances.
Yeah, Alex Tracy in net for Minnesota State today, reigning goaltender of the year, one of the best in the nation. Just what's the plan today for offense, just to be able to solve him, get some goals on the board?
Shot volume. And traffic for sure will be important.
All right, thank you very much, Ben. What you just heard was head coach Dennis Williams talking to Falcon Media Sports Network's Ben Korak. before tonight's game. My name is Audie Brago. I'm joined by Nathan Burkett and Dan Reidenhauer here in the WBGU studio for the Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show for BGSU hockey as they are taking on Minnesota State. So Falcons currently 2-3-1 overall on the season. Off to a decent start in the conference, 1-1, but they're also coming off a loss in overtime against Bemidji State. You know, we heard Coach Dennis Williams mention it. A lot of tough competition in the CCHA. It's a very tough conference. A lot of just competitive spirit, a lot of tight games. What's this matchup like for the Falcons today? Because they're going against one of the best teams, in the country, pretty much.
I mean, when it comes to the CCHA, in my opinion, it's the college hockey conference with probably the most parity between the major conferences. They're going up against the team that is currently not ranked number one in the CCHA by points because they've only played two conference games so far this year. But they're number 16 in the country, Minnesota State. They will likely be either number one or number two in the CCHA by the end of the season. This is the team to beat. They're the reigning CCHA champs. Since the CCHA's return in the 2021-22 season, they've won 3 of the 4 championships. The only one that they didn't win was in 2024 when Michigan Tech claimed it over Bemidji State. So 3 out of the 4 years, this is the 5th year, so 3 out of the 4 years so far they've made the championship. 3 out of the 4 years they've gone and won the championship in the CCHA. 3 out of 4 years they've gone to the NCAA tournament. And last year they played against Western Michigan in the first round, got knocked out in the first round, but they took what ended up becoming the national champions to double overtime before they lost. And a lot of that has to do with their great goaltender, Alex Tracy, who will no doubt be a tough challenge for the Falcons tonight.
Absolutely, and Tracy, I mean, looking at him, definitely the momentum that Bowling Green is going to have to go over to, and they're looking at him right now, and I mean, you look at his record, you look what he's doing, he only has averaged 2 goals against, that's his average, and then you look at his save percentage, it's in the 900s, so definitely has the credentials to be in this position, Artie and Nate, and I mean, really, you're going to look at as well, and especially, too, Bowling Green only has 5 wins when they go to Mankato from the history that they've played with these two, but also you can look at all these things of why it's stacked against Bowling Green tonight, but also you can look at the advantages. They're in the same boat as Bowling Green, coming off a loss in overtime with St. Thomas. They played in Mankato, lost 4-3 in overtime. They were able to, however, beat St. Thomas on the road in St. Paul 3-1, so they had that going for them. But also they really need to kind of lock it down too. Minnesota State does tonight, because then they're going to be going on the road to Lake Superior.
I mean, those 5 wins at Mankato, how much does something like that matter in a game like this? Is that momentum, or is it just like in the back of your mind type thing?
I would say it's more of a back of your mind. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are going to be more important than this, but it's also kind of just a consideration of why Minnesota State's this great team. And I mean, Nate listed off those things. I mean, taking, Western Michigan to double overtime and having everything like that, but also just the consideration of how these two teams all the way back to the CCHA originally, and then the WCHA that you had, and then you're back to the CCHA again. So they've had the history of that. But also then, too, realizing that now you're able to go out there, you're able to set the tone, and you're going to have to keep it close.
BG is they've lost 3 straight games against Minnesota State. The last time they beat them was at the Slater back in 2024. They won 4-3. Before that victory, it was a long time. That 2024 victory was the first time BG had beat Minnesota State since November 1st of 2019. So just even recently, Minnesota State has really had their number. So it's not something that's necessarily going to play an impact on this game. It's a new year. Both have brand new teams. But it's just a trend. And it's not necessarily a negative towards Bowling Green, because over that time they've had a lot of good hockey players come through and a lot of really good teams. It's just that Minnesota State, year after year, is one of the best teams in the CCHA, or going back to WCHA. They're always among the best. They're always going to be competing for championships. In my opinion, for Minnesota State, probably in their minds, this whole CCHA season is just a formality. Their goal is to go back to the NCAA tournament and see what they can do there. That's their season.
And we talked a lot about just how tough an opponent Minnesota State is. When we look at Bowling Green, what players you guys looking at to kind of step it up today? Like who? I mean, we know a couple guys on the team that have had week to week great performances, but who today in particular you guys see really standing out?
I mean, you got to mention Tyler Hodson, the only point per game player so far for the Falcons, has 2 goals and 4 assists through the Falcons' first 6 games. Someone who I've really enjoyed so far, Breck McKinley, leads the team in plus minus. He has +5. He currently is tied for the team lead in assists. He has 4 assists. Last year, he finished the year with 1 goal and 6 assists. So for 7 points. This year already, that was through 35 games. This year already, he has 4 assists for 4 points through 6 games. So he's on pace to have hopefully a career year. Even when he wasn't on the score sheet last year, he always impressed me, being able to move the puck with his quick skills. This year, he's been able to do that exact same thing, but this time it's actually converting in assists. So he's actually on the score sheet and getting, in my opinion, more recognition for his work so far. Another player I want to mention, Jaden Grant. He only has 2 goals so far this season, which is, considering how many games they played, still pretty good. They came in 1 game, the first game against Lake Superior State. But the key for me for when it comes to Jaden Grant, and this also actually will apply to Quinn Emerson as well, is not their number of goals, but how they're scoring goals. Both Quinn and Jaden have been able to score their goals off rebounds, off weird bounces, in the blue paint, in the slot. If you want to score goals on Alex Tracy, you're not going to be able to just take a one-timer. You're not going to be able to just take a shot from the point. You're going to be able to get those dirty goals, as they call them. Nothing this year that's gone in on Tracy has been clean. You can't just take a shot. He's going to stop it. Doesn't matter. I know Coach Woolley likes to preach high shot volume. You can have all the shots you want. If none of them are off rebounds or off a net front presence or a tip-in shot, or if none of the shots come from the blue paint, it's not going to matter. Tracy is going to finish this game with a +900 save percentage.
Well, in that, and I mean, Bowling Green are now averaging 2.5 goals a game. They have 15 goals overall in the season, and I mean, we're looking at Tyler Hodson, Quinn Emerson, Breck McKinley. You were really reading my mind with that. I'm not gonna lie, but so I'm gonna kind of switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna take a look at Braden Crampton right now. I mean, the 6 games that he's played, he's gotten 19 shots on net. And it all starts there. And, you kind of call them the quote-unquote garbage goals. It's not going to be, the highlight that you're going to see on ESPN. It's not going to be the highlight, where Ovechkin just going to go, boom, right, one-timer. It's going to have to be, you're going to have to get the shot, you're going to have to get the rebound, and then you're going to have to put it in that way. And I think Braden Crampton, looking at him right now, with the 19 shots he has, leading the Bowling Green Falcons in this team, in that regard is definitely going to be kind of a deciding factor today for Bowling Green. And then also being able to be out there, he's currently +1 so far. So it's going to be good to see him coming into this game with the advantage.
I mean, we've talked a lot about Alex Tracy. And I mean, speaking of shots on goal, when it comes to the Minnesota State attack, who do the Falcons have to look out for today when they're on the defensive end of the stick?
The whole team. This whole team is dangerous. I'm going to be honest. But the main players, especially if the listeners have read my preview of the match. If not, there's always time. Subtle plug. But main guy right now is Luigi Benincasa. He has currently leading the team in points. He has 9 through their 8 games so far. 3 goals, 6 assists. He's been a solid player. Another player I want to mention is Charlie Lurie, number 24. Transferred into this team just this season, so he's on. It's his first year with Minnesota State, and 3 goals on the year, which is currently tied for the team lead in goals with quick count 4 other people, but all 3 of those goals have come on the power play, which currently rank him, if I remember correctly, as first best in the CCHA and 7th best, I believe, in the NCAA for power play goals.
Well, and let me take a look at Liam Watkins right now, the sophomore forward, originally from Omaha in the NCHC, but I think he's definitely going to be one of the guys to look out for. And I mean, like you said, the whole team. You can't just single it out to one little guy, but if we are going to, I think Liam Watkins is the man to look out for. 2 goals on 6 assists so far this year, has shot the puck 12 times. And he also leads Minnesota State right now with a +6, meaning he's been on the ice for 6 of the goals that have been scored. And I mean, I love that stat personally, the plus or minus, because it shows the guys that are out there. I mean, they may not get the goal, but they helped lead to it, if that kind of makes sense. Artie and Nathan. So Liam Watkins is going to be my guy to look out for Minnesota State.
Quick correction for Lurie. He is currently tied for the CCHA. He's currently tied for the CCHA lead in power play goals, and he's tied for 10th, not 7th, 10th in the NCAA. But still, point still stands. He's a danger, especially on the power play.
We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the matchup tonight between both teams and what to look out for tonight in those.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back here in WBGU 88.1 FM for the Falcon Media Sports Network pregame show. We still got a few more minutes before we throw it to Ben Korak, who took the trip out there to Minnesota to call tonight's game. So big shout out to Ben. He gets to go on those games and travel. But, when we look at both these teams, guys, again, Artie Brego joined by Nathan Burkett and Dan Ridenhour, what's the matchup looking at tonight between these two squads? We know, where do things stand as we head into this one? What do you think the strengths and weaknesses of the teams are going to be tonight as they go up against each other?
I mean, this is kind of David versus Goliath in a way. Number 16 team in the country. I feel like they could even be higher. This team, Minnesota State, is filled with goal scorers and pure goal scorers. Bowling Green, a lot of their goals come off rebounds and dirty goals. So, that's their main strength is shot volume, being physical. That's what they got to do tonight. They also have to make sure to not let these dangerous players of the Mavericks get good opportunities. So watch out for number 21, Ivan Karodia, who currently leads the Falcons in block shots with 12.
I think that's definitely great and absolutely. And, you got to keep it close. We learned this last week. It's really easy to come back. I mean, it could happen at any moment, at any time, and you got to look out for it. And, yeah, like you said, a David and Goliath type situation with these two, but overall, I think the biggest strength for Bowling Green tonight is they just really need to keep it close. They need to know when their times come, and they need to know kind of the control side on defense. And unfortunately, their defense has kind of struggled this year. So you're going to have to look at that with light and then look at the strong offense that Minnesota State has and kind of take those two together. So overall, I'd say the strength is going to rely a little bit on goaltending and the offense. The weakness is going to be more the defensive side of things for Bowling Green. But like you said, definitely the strength for Minnesota State is going to be the offense, and it's going to carry them a long way tonight. We'll see if that happens.
So we also have more Falcons athletics going on tonight. BGSU women's soccer is playing in the MAC championship game against Western Michigan. That game is currently going on. We'll have some updates from that. Ben Korak will have some updates to that as that game goes along. So we'll be sure to inform you guys, all the listeners out there, of how the Lady Falcons are doing tonight. Now, as we're gonna throw it back to Ben Korak in just a little bit, but before we go, you guys got any bold predictions for tonight? Like who specifically? We mentioned a couple players, but who specifically should Falcon fans look out for tonight?
Give me Maxwell Martin. He's yet to score a goal on the season, but he led the freshmen in goal scoring last year, and I just really enjoyed how he played against Bemidji State last weekend. Got a bunch of good opportunities, but mostly he was just physical. And last year he was physical. He'd always be good on the forecheck, but he wouldn't necessarily lay big hits. This year he's laying big hits.
I'm going to say Jaden Grant. Let's take a look at him tonight to be kind of a surprise for Bowling Green. I mean, a +3 currently on the year, 2 goals as well. So I think Jaden Grant going to be putting up some good things so far. The senior out of White Lake, Michigan, Jaden Grant.
All right, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to throw it to Ben Korak out there right now for tonight's action for BGSU hockey versus Minnesota State.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
Check out recaps of this and every BGSU hockey match online at bgfalconmedia.com.
Back here in Mankato, Minnesota. Ben Quark here from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Just heard our pregame show by Artie, Nathan, and Dan back in the Cooling Center studios. Thank you to you guys for talking in pregame. Also doing that during our Rick Crow first intermission report, our Marta Crow second intermission report, and postgame as well. A Falcon Media Sports Network production. Every home and away Bowling Green hockey game this season. Today we're in the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center. That's a mouthful here in Mankato, but a packed house of Maverick fans, and we should have a good game of hockey between two very good hockey clubs. The Falcons and Dennis Williams looking to make a name for himself. Minnesota State having no need to make a name for themselves, considering as Nathan Burkett did so well in his preview of this weekend, available on bgfalconmedia.com, and in the pregame, 3 out of the 4 Mason Cup finals and the reinstitution of the CCHA have been won by the Mavericks. They win the draw, take it back into their own zone. Reed Morick takes it up the right wing, stopped by McKinley on the right wing boards. Pressed up by the Falcons. Hodson gets it away to center ice, and Adam Zlinka skates it out of the danger zone for the Falcons. Stepped in, Jacob Stender wears a big hit, center ice. Playing the puck is Cole Moore in the net for Bowling Green. He plays behind Hodson, Duran, and Zlinka on the first line of forwards. Breck McKinley and Gustav Stjernberg on the back line. Stjernberg made that hit a second ago. Bowling Green in the O-zone. Dumped back down behind the goal line. It's peeled up and away by Tristan Lemire. Lemire played for Western Michigan last season, played against Bowling Green last season as well. Is a part of 2 national championship teams, 2 years ago with Omaha, or Denver, I should say, and last year with Western Michigan before transferring to Minnesota State. Evan Murr plays the puck in the neutral zone, rings it around the half wall on the shelf. Dalton Norris plays the puck out to Brody Waters, center ice. He's hit away from the puck. Oh, Charlie Leary took a pretty solid check there. His face goes into the boards. Puck back down into the Bowling Green end of the ice. Stjernberg plays it behind his net. Minute 20 expired here in the first period between Bowling Green and Minnesota State. The Mavericks starting Sawyer Scholl, Jacob Stender, and Reed Morick on the first line. Mason Wheeler, the captain, and Campbell Psychos, the assistant captain on defense. And Alex Tracy in the net for the Mavericks, defending goaltender of the year last season, a Mike Richter finalist for the nation's best goaltender. And all of college hockey, an impressive season last season for Alex Tracy in net for Minnesota State. Missed only 1 game, and that game was a win for the Mavericks. Eli Pulver with that win. Bowling Green takes it into the O-zone. Back to Connor Levis. Levis with a nice shot, and it's cleared back outside the blue line. Brett Foe will recenter for Bowling Green. Across the Maverick logo to the right wing. With the puck, right wing, Connor Levis down behind the goal line for Foe. He's checked up against the boards by Psychos. Takes it into the right wing corner. Still in the Bowling Green O-zone, battling with Minnesota State. Open ice now. Rihard Simonovic. His shot is saved by Alex Tracy. Shot that from the high left wing wheel, and the kicker of Tracy got the majority of that puck. Brett Foe still behind the goal line. Back out to the blue line. Held on, shot in, and a score! It's tipped in front. Breck McKinley the shot in. Connor Levis the tip down, and Bowling Green on the board first. A huge goal for the Falcons to get on board over Alex Tracy. 17:24 left to play in the first. Breck McKinley's got his 5th assist of the season, and Connor Levis has just his 2nd goal and his first not on an empty net. 2:36, the time of the goal in the first period. Minnesota State with the puck back in their own zone, now chasing by 1. Cole Moore in the Bowling Green net hasn't played since the Niagara game, the first 2 regular season games of the season for the Falcons. Played both of those. Was relieved by Tyler Palmer, and the second one didn't have much defensive help. And Willie in the pregame today said that the team is so much different now, and in his opinion better than it was when Cole Moore got his last chance. Steinman and Palmer have split the last 2 series for Bowling Green in net. Puck back into the O-zone for Bowling Green. A lot of O-zone possession for them. Out to the blue line, shot in. Tyler Hodson plays it in the left wing corner, pressed up by Bergmanis. Bergmanis, a line mate with Evan Murr. Evan Murr, one of the best defensemen in the CCHA. In the preseason polls, he was projected to be all CCHA first team as Bowling Green possesses the puck behind their own net. 16:22 left to play in the first. Breck McKinley and Brett Foe will be the 2 assists on that goal a minute ago by Connor Levis. Another score for the Falcons this season coming from right inside of the blue paint, which is a big focus for head coach Dennis Williams and this Falcon team. Ryman digging deep in the corner. A shot in off of the stick of Cole Moore. A big rip by Reed Morick from the right wing, and he beat Moore, who just barely got a stick on it. Minnesota State keeps it inside the Bowling Green blue line. Norris plays the puck to Braden Crampton. Crampton's been a pretty solid scorer so far already for the Falcons, just in his rookie campaign. 2 goals, 1 assist on the season. It is a point in 3 games this season. 2 goals, 1 assist, as I mentioned before. Puck, center ice, pulled in by Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer playing forward today, but extra skating, or at least playing forward on this shift. We'll see what he does the rest of the season. Played defenseman in the second game against Bemidji, played forward the first game against Bemidji. A bit worse for wear is Felix Gavers. Gavers is still down on the ice. The play is whistled dead as he's in the Bowling Green O-zone, or the Bowling Green zone, I should say, and the Maverick O-zone. And he's on his skates but doubled over. Alex Zetterberg will skate over to carry him. He took a big check there by Gustav Stjernberg in the corner. And the Goose will do that to you. 6'4", 213, wrecking ball of defensemen. As Felix Gavers, 1 goal this season, a pretty influential forward, playing left wing on the second line. Transfer from St. Lawrence after 3 seasons there, 52 points in 109 games played. They'll be without him at least for the time being, playing on a line with Jack Smith and Alex Zetterberg. Bowling Green wins the draw. That's center ice. Mason Wheeler flips it up the ice back into the Bowling Green end. Breck McKinley will be the first back, playing with Richard Simonovic. He gets it to Simonovic, who beats Jack Smith. Smith, a transfer from Minnesota Duluth, where he's played the last 3 seasons. Campbell Sykos plays the puck behind his net. Connor Levis gives a check. Out to center ice. Bowling Green gets the puck away. A good strip there by Jake Sloan. Sloan skates back to the bench. Minnesota State will reset. Trying to put together some offense. They're down a goal here in the first period. An early one by Connor Levis on a shot in from the point by Breck McKinley. Very nice play for the Falcons. Here's a turnover in the center, pounding away at Alex Tracy. It's fed in, and Bowling Green scores yet again. Who got in tight there? Looked like Adam Zlinka. Tyler Hodson and Ben Duran look to have got a stick on that puck as well. A turnover by Minnesota State. Getting in tight, looked like Hodson got a stick on it, and Zlinka ended up cleaning it up. Tracy's beat twice in the opening frame. And the referee getting to talk to Luke Strand here from Minnesota State. And a challenge is coming from Minnesota State on that goal by the Falcons. Possibly we'll show a replay. .23 left to play in the first period. The goal is on the scoreboard, not yet put on the live stats and not yet official, as we have a replay from the Mavericks. And while they replay this, we'll take a step back real quick, send it back to the Cooling Center studios. Artie, Dan, and Nathan Burkett. You're listening to Bowling Green Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
You are.
Three players from the football program were arrested this weekend. The players, wide receivers Brendan Ridley and Caleb Goodlow, and fullback Leo Kemp, allegedly assaulted a bouncer at Ziggy's around 2 a.m. on Sunday, November 2nd. Ridley and Goodlow allegedly struck the victim multiple times, and when another person went to break up the fight, Kemp put him into a chokehold. The three men appeared at Bowling Green Municipal Court on Tuesday morning, with all pleading not guilty. They are charged with first-degree misdemeanor assault, with the maximum punishment of 180 days in jail and a fine up to $1,000. The three players are still listed as on the roster as of right now. For more information regarding the developing story, head over to the updated story on bgfalconmedia.com. This has been 60 Seconds in Falcon Athletics.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Falcon Hockey on the radio at 88.1 FM and streaming online at bgfalconmedia.com.
A rare defensive zone turnover for Minnesota State results in a good goal for Bowling Green. It's Adam Zlinka that's going to get credit for it, assisted by Tyler Hodson. Hodson's 7th point of the season. He leads the Falcons by quite a margin, the transfer from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. And Adam Zlinka gets his first goal of the season, his 2nd point of the season, playing on the second line today with Ben Duran and Tyler Hodson. So Bowling Green up to a 2-0 start against Minnesota State, who did trail significantly against St. Thomas last week. Ended up splitting with St. Thomas at a home-and-home. And the dot there from Minnesota State, Luigi Benincasa. Benincasa, 9 points on the season, a 7-game point streak as well for the forward, transferred from Ferris State 2 years ago. Evan Murr behind his goal, puck away. Played back by Bergmanis. Bowling Green is being lethal on the forecheck today. Jaden Grant almost got a chance there on possibly another Minnesota State turnover. With the puck is Watkins. Watkins out to Evan Murr, who skates it out of his own zone. Benincasa down the right wing, stretching the ice a bit there. Gustav Sternberg behind his net. Turnover in front. Shot to score! Liam Watkins takes credit for the turnover. Minnesota State gets one back and brings them within one. Puck went behind the goal. Gustav Sternberg played it with Ivan Korodiak there, but he played it into the stick of what looked to be Sawyer Scholl, who was on the forecheck. And it deflected right in front of the net, and a routine shot and score for Liam Watkins, who beat Cole Moore 2-1. Bowling Green leads 3 scores in the first period, already the most high-scoring first period for Bowling Green this season. Puck won by Bowling Green off the draw, tipped into the offensive zone. Kept inside the blue line. Martin is spun out of play. Ranging in is Jacob Stender. Stender's knocked away from the puck. It's behind the goal now for Simonovic. Simonovic banks it off and around. Transfer from Miami of Ohio. Maybe a year too late to transfer out of Miami, as they've had a very hot start to this 25-26 season. As puck goes off of Bowling Green into the net, and a face-off in the Minnesota State O-zone. Watkins, assisted by Tristan Lemire, who we mentioned has won 2 national championships in his college career. Time of the goal, 6 13. 3 goals before we even hit the media timeout in period number 1. Puck dropped to the left of Cole Moore. Bowling Green wins the draw, clears it out. Campbell Psychos gets it away to Jack Smith. Jack Smith on the left wing. Crossover into the center. A good chance there. Charlie Lurie couldn't connect with the puck as he was ranging down the slot and couldn't get a shot off. Lurie's bumped away from the puck there. Takes a tumble. Puck is going to be called offsides. Wheeler fired it back in. Just a bit prematurely. 12:54 left to play in the first. 2-1. Bowling Green leads Minnesota State here in Mankato, Minnesota. About hour 45-minute drive from Minneapolis-St. Paul. Finn Williams in for the draw, an alternate captain this season. Previously played in the Big Ten with Notre Dame. Assisted on Minnesota State's first goal of the season. That was Sawyer Scholl's first goal as a Maverick as well, the freshman. Played at Notre Dame in 2022-23. Here's a turnover for Connor Levis. He gets a chance. Jake Sloan, another fire in. Connor Levis is pressed away. Another shot in. Tracy rejects that one as well. It's cleared over into the Minnesota State bench. And Bowling Green with a big offensive zone presence here. Has got a couple of nice flurries. They've got 5 shots on goal to Minnesota State's 2. A prime opportunity there for Connor Levis, who was camped out in the blue paint. Into the dot, Jake Sloan against Finn Williams. Sloan, just a freshman, born in Scotland. Most recently played for Tri-City in the WHL. Sternberg, a slap shot in, is blocked, and he'll have to skate back. Knocking the puck away is Jordan Ron. Ron into the O-zone, turned over back to the Falcons. Brett Foe leaves it back, fired in. Minnesota State gathers the puck in their own zone, out to center ice. Merrick to the left wing. Duran goes for the check. Puck is away from Ron to Adam Zlinka. Zlinka lets it go to Ben Duran. Duran off the half wall to Tyler Hodson. Hodson slaps at the puck. It's back to Bryce Strand in behind the goal line. The son of Luke Strand, head coach for Minnesota State. Down the left wing comes Tristan Lemire. Lemire, the shot is blocked by Dalton Norris. Kurodia catches the body, throws him into the corner and against the boards. Back behind the goal is Ben Duran, battling for the puck in his own zone. Cole Moore looks out of his right. A penalty here coming to Bowling Green. Ivan Kurodia gets his stick on it. We'll see what the call is. I think it's going to be holding against the Falcons, and Bowling Green will serve 2 here with a 1-goal lead and 11:40 left to play in the first. So 3 scores already before the media timeout. We'll have a chance at a 4th here for Minnesota State, who's got their power play clicking. Almost at 30% conversion on their power plays and a 920 penalty kill. That's 92% of the time they'll kill penalties. Bowling Green, who hasn't been bad in the penalty kill department, 81% of the time. Their power play quite a sizable margin weaker for a young Bowling Green team who's trying to get their special teams intact. But Minnesota State, with 2 minutes on the Ben Duran holding penalty, won by MSU, but it's called off, and we'll redrop puck here to the right of Cole Moore. Face-off one back. With the puck is Zetterberg on the left wing, down to the goal line. Fired over into the middle. Jack Smith couldn't settle the puck down and able to get a shot off. Back out to the blue line. Bergmanis keeps it in. Running the first power play unit. Shot by Lurie is taken away by Gustav Sternberg. Out to center ice. He'll waste some time. Doesn't ice the puck down, but Minnesota State will have to recenter. Back into the Bowling Green end of the ice. Sternberg, the puck just out of his reach. Lurie will come up with it. Fires it into the slot. Bowling Green takes the puck away. Gets it outside the blue line. Minnesota State will have to touch up. Bergmanis plays the puck. Defenseman on the first power play unit. 2 assists this season. No goals yet for the transfer from Vermont. and Hockey East. He takes the puck outside of his own blue line. To the left wing, Jack Smith into Tristan Lemire. Lemire around the horseshoe, down to the goal line, off the half wall and out of the zone for Bowling Green. Under a minute left to play in the power play for Minnesota State. Have yet to get a shot on goal. New unit back on for the Falcons. Connor Levis will come off. Adams Linka will come on, playing with Jaden Grant as forwards. Benincasa to the middle. Weaving through a couple of Falcons was Liam Watkins, who's already got a goal. He had that goal when the Falcons were up 2-0. Only about a minute after Adams Linka scored his first of the season. Puck pressed up against the corner by Gustav Stjernberg, who caught the body. Evan Murr to Campbell Sykos. Sykos, the shot in is blocked. Out about to the blue line. Pressed up against the boards by Bowling Green, who's trying to waste the last 15 seconds of this penalty kill. Still pinned up against the boards. Evan Murr guarding the blue line. So is Sykos. It's cleared down by Bowling Green, and that should do it for the power play for Minnesota State. Evan Murr gathers the puck in his own zone. Ben Duran comes out of the box, and the Falcons back up to full strength with 3 forwards, 2 defensemen on the ice. Murr asks to scamper back in his own zone. Bowling Green still up 2-1. 9:30 left to play here in the first period. Fired in by Finn Williams, the assistant captain. Brody Waters plays it in the corner. Out from behind the goal line, Campbell Sykos moves it towards center at the blue line. Backhand shot in. In front was Scholl. He couldn't direct it down, and Cole Moore comes up with the save. Into the corner, played out by Stender. Pinned up against the boards, BG with the puck, out to center ice. Sykos will backpedal and grab the puck. Playing with Mason Wheeler. Sykos will go for a change. Liam Hupko will step on the ice once Sykos can get off. Taking it into the zone is Lemire. Lemire, his shot in to Cole Moore. It finds its way through. Maybe tipped in front by Jacob Stender. But Lemire and Stender connect for the 4th goal of the first period, and it's tied 2-2. It got right into the chest of Cole Moore. Lemire from the right wing is shot into the chest of Cole Moore. It looked like he dropped it down to his knees, and it just squirted right through his legs. Out the back and past the goal line. Lemire will get his 2nd point of the game. 8:41 left to play here in the first period. Already the highest scoring first period for the Falcons this season. It's been a while since either team that Bowling Green has played or played on has scored this many in the opening frame. Down behind the goal line, Minnesota State quickly back into the O-zone. Benincasa pressed up by Breck McKinley, both juniors. Behind the goal line, Karodiak will skate away with Bryce Strand. Bryce Strand, a recentering shot. Here's Watkins. Watkins, his shot is off of the pad. Behind the goal line, McKinley plays, Karodiak away. And for Brett Foe on the right wing. Foe up, Connor Levis on the forecheck. Bowling Green can't seem to get the puck back the last couple of minutes. Gustav Stjernberg will play, and a penalty upcoming to Bowling Green. I believe it's going to be interference on Brett Foe, and he'll skate off for 2 unhappily. 7:55 left to play in the first at our media timeout. 2 minutes for interference 2, number 13, Brett Foe, and that'll lead us into our Juniper Brewing Company timeout. Sponsored by Juniper Brewing Company, located at 145 South Main Street in downtown Bowling Green, featuring coffee and craft beer and serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. See the latest menu at juniperbrew.com. 7:55 left to play in the first. 4 goals in the opening period so far. 2 for Bowling Green, 2 for Minnesota State. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces more feature stories about BGSU athletics than any other media outlet. Make sure to head over to bgfalconmedia.com and follow Falcon Media Sports Network at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date with all of our content.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
Check out more Falcon athletic coverage on X at BG_FMSN.
Back here in the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center, the home of Minnesota State men's and women's hockey, and home to the Falcons for the next 2 games today and tomorrow. And already an entertaining first period for Bowling Green. 2 opening goals led 2-0 off of Connor Levis and Adam Zlinka, both on net front presences by the Falcons. Willie's certainly happy with that. But then the time since then, they've given up 2 goals, one to Liam Watkins, one to Tristan Lemire, their 3rd and 4th of the season. And now Minnesota State will head onto a power play with Brett Foe's 2-minute penalty for interference. So mistakes being made early with the sticks by Bowling Green, 1 for holding, 1 for interference. Not normally the penalties that Bowling Green takes as they clear the puck down. Normally the Falcons will take aggression penalties, boarding, roughing, hitting from behind, things that stem from physicality, but holding and interference, normally not penalties that the Falcons take. Puck cleared out by Bowling Green once again as soon as Minnesota State can enter into the offensive zone. 7:30 left to play in the first period, 2-2. Out the right side of the goal, Bergmanis to Smith. Smith, a good pass, getting in tight is Lemire, and cleaned up on the backside. Jack Smith got in there tight as well with Lemire. Brett Foe will skate out of the box after a Minnesota State power play goal. Take a step out right here while we sort out the assists for legal ID. You're listening to Falcon Hockey.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Cole Moore has been beat 3 times here in period number 1. That one by Lemire, his 5th goal of the season, his 2nd of the game. Assisted by Jack Smith and Ralph Bergmanis. So the penalty is mildly disastrous for Bowling Green. Ben Duran took a penalty earlier on that didn't result in a power play goal, but directly contributed to O-zone presence for Minnesota State, and a goal coming up a bit later by Tristan Lemire. And then now a power play goal by Tristan Lemire, and a power play for Minnesota State that's approaching the 30% mark. Simonovic fires the puck in from inside the blue line. It's blocked outside the blue line by Sawyer Scholl. Back into the zone to pick it up. Simonovic gives some contact to Benincasa. Reed Morick takes the puck away, crosses it into the slot. Bowling Green gets a stick on it. Morick battling with Zlinka for possession of the puck. Shot fanned by Benincasa. Evan Murr plays it. He fires it in behind the goal of Cole Moore. Moore actually stepped out for Jacob Steinman, getting in tight with Steinman. He looks to cover the puck up, still battling away at it. Substitution just a second ago. Jacob Steinman in net for Cole Moore. And an early exit for the junior goaltender for the Falcons, who had pretty solid first 2 seasons to his career and has just been outplayed and outshined this season by Jacob Steinman and Tyler Palmer, the incomers. So Steinman in net, face off to his left in the Bowling Green side of the ice. 6:11 left to play in the first period. 3-2 Minnesota State on 3 straight goals, 2 straight by Tristan Lemire, the transfer from Western Michigan. Williams down to the goal line. Played out by Ron. Off the half wall, banking over towards Steinman. He shuts off the goal, and it's away by Bowling Green. Brett Foe out there in center ice. Can't settle the puck down. Smith tips it in, and the Falcons will gain possession. It's Braden Crampton around his own goal. Pass up to center ice, and an easy interception there for Jacob Conrad. Conrad, a transfer from Lake State last season. 35 games played, 8 goals, 5 assists, and 13 total points in his career between Lake State and Minnesota State. Into the corner. Liam Hupka gets pressed. A check there for Bowling Green. Puck out to center ice. Quinn Emerson, first time we've said his name today. He's got 2-game goal streak. As here's an icing against Minnesota State. It's going to come down into their end of the ice. Bowling Green trying to put together some more offense. Noah Morneau, Quinn Emerson, and Max Martin on the ice for Bowling Green. Some scrambled lines today from the Falcons as well. Not common lines that we've seen through conference play especially, but all season. Benincasa turns the puck over. Here's a feed into the slot. Morneau couldn't get a shot off. Down by the goal line. Into the corner. Morneau playing with Quinn Emerson. Emerson in the corner. Circles back out to the blue line. Sternberg the shot in. Hugs the ice and into the pad of Alex Tracy, who calmly directs to the side. Into the corner. Quinn Emerson going for the puck with Hupka. It's away to Watkins. Watkins center ice, the forward. Dumps it inside the Bowling Green blue line. Out to center ice. Ben Duran plays it at the center line. Back into the O zone with Campbell Psycho's possession. Psycho's a right defenseman, playing with Mason Wheeler today. Wearing an A. Wheeler wearing the only C for this Minnesota State team, who's got 4 A's and 1 C. Wheeler in, Bowling Green with possession. Stender on a light forecheck. Hodson off of his stick, way up into the crowd, and we'll get a face-off in center ice. 4:10 left to play in the first period. 3-1. Minnesota State leads Bowling Green. Now leads in shots on goal as well, a department that Bowling Green was leading 5-2 when they were up 2-0. And Minnesota State has answered with 3 of their own. A high-powered offense. Just a hair above Bowling Green in goals per game, but they've played much more stiff competition. Omaha, Wisconsin, and St. Thomas. St. Thomas, one of the better teams in the CCHA. Omaha and Wisconsin, very good teams perennially as well. Norris fires it in from the blue line. Down behind the goal is Wheeler. Pass off the half wall around to Dalton Norris. Norris hugs the boards, try and keep the puck in. Ryman can't get the touch up, but luckily it's an icing against Minnesota State, and they will lack a change. So a bit tired legs out there for the Mavericks. Bowling Green will get the change that they wanted. It's Foe, Sloan, and Levis. Levis playing on the wing today. Jake Sloan in center. Levis is a pretty solid centerman as well. So that's 2 very good centers on that line. Levis had a shorthanded empty net goal in the first game against Lake State, the first game of CCHA play for the Falcons. He has the first goal tonight as well. That's his first even strength goal of his career. Brett Foe up against the board. Sloan with the shot in is kind of directed away from Alex Tracy before he can get a touch on it. Stender gets the puck out to the blue line. Sternberg, his shot in, dropped down in front and cleared away by the defenseman for Minnesota State. Sternberg takes a bump from Morik, gets the puck back down behind the goal line. Sloan is there. It's poked away from him. Foe into the corner as well, out to the blue line. Sternberg makes Stender miss. Now takes a check down to the ice. Morik is really fighting with Sternberg there. Bowling Green with possession back in their own zone. 3 minutes left to play in the first period. Minnesota State up 3-2. Evan Murr takes a check into the boards, gets the puck away. Skating away with the puck is Charlie Lurie. Down behind the goal line, Quinn Emerson on the right wing, up to center ice. Bowling Green with the puck now. Noah Morneau gets it poked away from him. He fires it into the corner from the left side of the ice. Out back to the Bowling Green side to Jacob Steinman. Steinman lets it go wide of the goal post, and we'll get another icing. Third straight whistle and a third straight icing against Minnesota State. Not as tired legs as they had last time, but Bowling Green looking to tie this game up before we head into the Rick Crow first intermission report. Again, had that 2-goal lead and just not able to hold on, although they've had a fair amount of offensive zone possession time, which is something they really lacked last season here in Mankato. Into the slot, Tyler Hodson couldn't get the puck on his tape enough to get a shot off, and it's off of Minnesota State stick and up into the netting. Still in the O-zone for Bowling Green, but Minnesota State will get a change. So it goes in Wheeler out, Watkins, Benincasa, and Tristan Lemire. One of the better forward lines in the CCHA, all of them transfers within the last 2 seasons. Lemire and Watkins this season, Luigi Benincasa 2 seasons ago. One of the best players for Ferris State, if not the best player for Ferris State 2 years ago, and then transferred to the Mavericks after the 23-24 season. Had a pretty solid 24-25 season as well, as the puck is out of play, and we'll get a face-off in the neutral zone. Benincasa riding his 7-game point streak, 7 of 8 games played this season. Only didn't score in the first. In the last 4 games, he's got a goal and 4 assists. And Luigi Benincasa has lacked a point in one of Minnesota State's 3 goals scored here in the first period. Psycho's the puck away. He gets bumped, so the puck stays into the Bowling Green end. Mason Wheeler gets it away to Tristan Lemire. Lemire gets pushed up against the boards. Ryman keeps the puck in on a nice play. He's showing better defense as of the last couple of games, known as a very skillful skater and skillful scoring forward. Not too much known for what he brings on defense, and he's done so well, especially with the stick. Norris battling for possession of the puck behind Jacob Steinman in the Bowling Green end of the ice. About 1.5 minutes left to play in the first period. BG still trails by 1. Strand will loop back into his own zone to grab the puck, playing on the third line with Jacob Conrad, the third pairing of defensemen. Max Martin in down the right wing. The puck gets knocked away. He wraps it over in front. He was battling with a broken stick there on the ice. Braden Crampton will have to touch up the puck. Taking in, what a nice low-angle shot by Sawyer Scholl. Another chance there by Jack Smith. And a flurry from Minnesota State on a bit of a breakaway. They just outskated Crampton and Breck McKinley back to that puck. It was Sawyer Scholl with the hustle play. 55 seconds left to play in the first period. Back to gather the puck is Evan Murr. Murr, the 6-foot Stillwater, Minnesota native. Still skates with the puck in his own zone. Minnesota State most likely happy to go into the first intermission up a goal after giving up 2 unanswered to start the game. Behind the goal, their own goal, is Bowling Green. Tyler Hodson plays the puck forward to Adam Zlinka. Zlinka in behind the goal line. Bergmanis gets it away to Morik. Morik pressed up against the boards by Hodson. High in the air into the Bowling Green zone. Gloved and dropped by Karodiak on his left wing boards. 15 seconds left to play in the first period. Psychos avoids the check, takes it inside the blue line. Now Hodson off the half wall and out to neutral ice. 5 seconds left to play in the first period. Morik tips it in. A 3-2 lead for Minnesota State. 2 unanswered by Bowling Green to start the period within the first 6 minutes. And then 3 in response by Minnesota State. They lead 3-2 after 20 minutes of play here in the Mayo Clinic Health System Events Center. You're listening to Bowling Green Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
After a week of drama surrounding the program, BGSU football battles Eastern Michigan at Ypsilanti on Saturday, November 8th at 1 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Tyler Kavelitz, Gavin Gill, Sam Bork, and Holden Ruck will have a full in-studio broadcast and watch-along of the game, starting with the pregame show at 12:35 p.m. on Falcon Radio. There will also be additional on-site coverage of the game on bgfalconmedia.com and BG_FMSN on Twitter.
Ever wanted to hear what a BGSU coach or player says after a game? Head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel to watch post-game press conferences for all BGSU home volleyball, soccer, football, hockey, and basketball games.
The first intermission report brought to you by Rick Crow, longtime BGSU hockey fan and listener of Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM. So, welcome to the first intermission report of the night. Again, Artie Abrego joined by Dan Reinhauer and Nathan Burkett. 5 goals scored in that first period total between both teams. The score right now, Minnesota State up 3-2 against the Falcons. Guys, some hot, pretty fast action to open this one up.
Absolutely, Artie. I mean, what a game just to start off. 3 goals before even halfway. BG, we talked about how this was going to be an uphill battle for them. They actually came out with the advantage, scoring 2 quick ones thanks to strikes from Adam Zlunka and Connor Levis. Adam Zlunka, actually his second career goal, scored his first goal last year against Minnesota State in Mankato. So in very similar fashion to this year's goal. So didn't necessarily see him as a Maverick killer, but here he is.
Well, and how crazy of that, too, just to kind of look at the way that things started off. I mean, getting those right out of the gate, those 2, like you said, Nate, and then Minnesota State just going right back at it with 3 unanswered is just really difficult to kind of process and maintain. I mean, Bowling Green so far this year right now, they're averaging 2 goals a game, so to get that in the first period is huge. The only issue is that you have to get that against the best team in the CCHA.
Yeah, as you guys just mentioned, Minnesota State Falcons go up 2-0. Minnesota State they get 3 goals on the board, in quick succession, really, to get them back up on the lead. And the big news from that first period, goalie Cole Moore taken out of the game for Steinman. How does that change things for the Falcons?
I mean, first off, talking about Cole Moore, he makes 5 saves on 8 shots, lets in 3 goals, finishes his game with a .625 save percentage. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it against any opponent, but let alone one of the best teams in the CCHA, one of the best teams in the NCAA. You have to do better if you're Cole Moore. Plain and simple, right to the point. We need a better performance out of him. But we bring in Jacob Steinman, the freshman. He, so far, has made all 3 saves that he's been tasked with. Steinman has the best save percentage on the year between our 3 goaltenders, with a .917, not including this game so far. So .917 on the year. Palmer had a .915, so they're pretty much equal. But Steinman does have the best save percentage. He's impressed, and I feel like now he has an opportunity to impress against a really big name opponent. And so far, he's done well, but it's just 3 shots. So I'm excited to see how he'll do in the second and third.
Well, and I mean, with Cole Moore, if you look at the year with the save percentage, he's at an 8.42. And I mean, compared to Tyler Palmer and Jacob Steinman, he's the only goaltender that's in the 8 range. And then you look at the goals against average as well, just where he's looking at a 3.70. So he's the only one with a 3. Both Steinman and Palmer have 2 points. So it hasn't been his year so far, and tonight was just a rough go at it. And we're going to see how Steinman can do. There's a lot of confidence. Currently, his record being 2-2, but he's given up 5 goals so far and make that 6 with tonight. So we're just going to have to see how it can roll along with Jacob Steinman being in net.
Yeah, we'll watch that one. But so far, goals scored by the Falcons. Connor Levis got things started with the first goal of the game, and then Adam Zinka was the second goal. So, I mean, now that BG has sort of entered into this cold stretch, after Minnesota State, they scored 3 straight. What do you think gets them out of that? And as we head into the second period, what do you see? Do you guys think they can get out of it, dig themselves out of that hole?
I mean, they're going to want to hope that they can get themselves out of this hole. I feel like all they got to do is just go back into the second period with the mantra of it's a new game. I know that a lot of times you'll say that after a tie game, they're down by one, but just go out there. Let's just take it one period at a time. One goal that's nothing. That's the most dangerous lead in hockey, in my opinion. I know coaches say it's 2-goal lead. That's more of a mindset thing, but let's be real, it's 1-goal lead. You can do that. You've already proven you can score on Alex Tracy. Just keep doing what you did to start out this game. Get quick shots, have guys in front setting screens, get those rebound opportunities, get those tipped shots, and just I feel like the main thing is you got to trust Steinman. I feel like this team does trust Steinman based on his performance so far, but he is going in cold, but you got to be able to trust Steinman and not be super nervous about him taking shots that might prevent you from you yourself taking a good chance.
Well, not only is it just trusting Steinman, it's also, kind of like you said, the new game mentality. It's going into there and realizing that opportunities can come from any time. I mean, we start the game out, Alex Tracy is getting screened right at the beginning, and then boom, Bowling Green's on the board right out of the gate, and then able to get a second one. We thought it could get called back, and it doesn't, so that stands 2-0. So it's really taking advantage of the opportunities that you're given, and Bowling Green's kind of struggled with that a little bit so far this year, but it's going to be taking advantage of the opportunities, having trust in Steinman, and creating it as a new game for the second period.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, there's going to be more discussion here on the Rick Rowe Intermission Report when we come back here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Hey everybody, this is Kevin Hutchinson, host of The Swoop.
And this is Brooke Blake, executive producer for The Swoop. The Swoop is BG24's sports talk show about all things BGSU athletics.
New episodes come out every Thursday at 6 p.m. at bgfalconmedia.com.
The BGSU women's soccer team went into the Mid-American Conference Tournament as an injury-bug 6th seed. The Falcons now find themselves in the MAC Championship, facing off against one-seeded Western Michigan at the historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio, on Friday, November 7th at 7:30 p.m. The recap of the match will be posted on bgfalconmedia.com.
So what we just heard was a radio promo about the women's soccer championship, MAC championship game. A little update on that. Western Michigan has scored. So it's now, I believe it's a 1-0 game now. So we'll keep updating you on that as that one winds down or concludes in the next couple of minutes. But back here for the first Rick Rowe intermission report. As we head into the second period, what is really standing out to you guys, like stat-wise, or just in general, as we've gone through this one?
I mean, I'll start us off. What a period. Again, we talked about how quickly BG scored. I'm very surprised Zlunka once again scoring his second career goal. Right now, the current team lead in shots on goal goes to Connor Levis, scores his second career goal. He has 3 shots on goal so far this game. Adam Zlunka has 2, so the 2 goal scorers are also leading the team in shots on goal. That's big. In terms of block shots, Gustav Sternberg, the assistant captain, has 2 block shots, and then Simonovic, Foe, and Norris and Crampton all have 1. And then this is pretty impressive to me. The freshman, Jake Sloan, when it comes to plus-minus rating, he was on the ice for both of BG's goals, is yet to be on the ice for a Minnesota State goal, so he currently leads the team in that category with a +2 plus-minus rating.
Oh, absolutely. And Tristan St. Lemire right now got 2 goals back-to-back for Minnesota State, so definitely interesting as well. A notable stat to get 2 goals in one period, and let alone the first, is just crazy. You normally build the momentum, and you're going to get 2 most likely in the second period, if that is to happen, which it rarely does. Artie and Nathan, so definitely a interesting stat that I saw. And then also Steinman so far has 1,000 save percentage. I mean, he only faced 3 shots on goal, but good for him to start setting the tone early, and hopefully we'll see that carry on into the second period.
And as we carry on in the second period, look at the other side of things. Minnesota State, we mentioned before that, those 3 goals in that quick succession got them really set up good and heading into this next period. What do they need to do to just really pile it on BG and really just, build off that momentum in the second period?
Keep playing Minnesota State hockey. I mean, we already mentioned Lemire. He finishes the first period with 3 points, 2 goals, and an assist. We mentioned the big name players in the pregame show. Ben's mentioned them on air. They just need to keep relying on those players. There's not really a single bad player. Well, there's not even like a single like mediocre player on this Minnesota State team. Every player on this team is a quality player, and every single one of these players is out here playing for again like a national championship. I feel like for Minnesota State, in their opinion, like the CCHA is just that's just something they have to go through, I guess, in order to get to the NCAA tournament. Like that's their goal. Their goal is to go back to the NCAA tournament. Their goal is to go on a run in the NCAA tournament. Everything in the way right now, it's just what they got to do. So that their goal is to win every game they go into, and so far they're winning right now.
Well, and with winning every game, they're also going to have to set the tone at home, because then they go on to Lake Superior next week, and they're going to be looking at that on the road in a bit of a disadvantage. And Bowling Green played Lake Superior earlier this season, so going to have familiarity with both of those. But, also, like you said, keep playing that Minnesota State style of hockey. I mean, Liam Watkins, Tristan Lemire getting out there, Mason Wheeler. I mean, guys that are just really stepping up so far for Minnesota State is the reason that they're so successful right now.
All right, so that's going to do us for us for the Rick Crow Intermission Report, your first Intermission Report of the evening. We'll be back for another one later on in the night. But when we come back, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to bring back to Ben Korak for the rest of the action here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
If you ever miss the Zig Zone on Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. on WBGU 88.1 FM, or just want to re-listen to the program, each show is posted in full on bgfalconmedia.com with timestamps so you can skip ahead to your favorite part.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
BGSU women's basketball is set to travel to Madison to battle the University of Wisconsin Badgers. Catch Falcon Media Sports Network's Adam Duffin with the call on 88.1 FM at 7:30 p.m. Listen also to Ben Korak, Lucas Kleinmeyer, Noah Seeley, and Andrew Helkowski in studio for all the pregame, halftime, and postgame action. You can find all women's basketball action on WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for BGSU women's basketball.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio. Whether the Falcons are at the Slater Family Ice Arena or out on the road, the Falcon Media Sports Network is covering them all season long.
5 goals scored in the first period, 3 by Minnesota State, 2 by Bowling Green, all 5 from pretty close in to the blue paint, probably within about 10 feet. Bowling Green scored 2 early, Connor Levis and Adam Zlinka. And then Minnesota State responded with 3. Tristan Lemire got the last 2, and before that, Liam Watkins, his 3rd of the season. High-scoring first period, the highest of the season for Bowling Green so far, and it's a 3-2 Minnesota State lead. Ben Korak here from the Falcon Media Sports Network. You heard the Rick Rope first intermission report from Artie, Dan, and Nathan just a second ago. They'll come back to you in the second period and post-game as well. And speaking of in-between periods, we'll go over our Pick the Stick for the day. For Falcon Media Sports Network members, choose a player before the game starts. Gain 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist, and the goalie gets you 3 points, and you lose them as he gives up goals. We total them up as the season goes along, and make sure to play along at home as well. Lucas Kleinmeyer chose Dom Ryman, who has not scored a point yet. Tyler Kavlich chose Brody Waters, who has not scored a point yet. Arturo Abrego, our board operator today, chose Jaden Grant, who has not scored a point yet. And the only point assessed today is Tyler Hotson's 1 assist to myself, and I will get a point for that toward my season-long total. So make sure to keep up with that. We'll post graphics on Twitter. Nick Windholtz is kind enough to put those graphics together. We post them on Twitter before and after each game on updates on standings and our selections for the day, and play at home as well. As we mentioned, 5 goals in the first period, and Bowling Green has a new goaltender out there. It's Jacob Steinman that got the net right after Cole Moore gave up his 3rd goal. Steinman made 3 saves to end the period and skated out the back 9 minutes of it. Cole Moore, who played fine against Niagara, played both games against Niagara, played fine, didn't have much defensive help. He just wasn't able to stop a whole lot of in-tight action from the Mavericks today. And he only recorded 5 saves, 3 goals allowed, and has been yanked from today's game. Alex Tracy on the other side of the ice, 2 goals allowed and 7 saves. The defending goaltender of the year for the CCHA, and a Mike Richter goaltender of the year for the NCAA finalist as well. Also in the top 10 for Hobie Baker voting last season. This faceoff won by Bowling Green back into their zone. They had a pretty split amount of offensive time in the first period, probably dominated by Minnesota State, but still relatively even considering the win total differential and just how talented these teams are compared to each other. Adam Zlinka back behind the goal line. Ben Duran is leveled. Braden Crampton grabs the puck on the half wall, keeps it inside the own zone for Bowling Green. Duran back up and at him. He's behind the goal line, bumped by Campbell Psychos. Duran still playing with the puck behind the goal line, away to Brody Waters. Brody Waters has been pretty quiet in scoring early in the season. He scored 16 goals last season, was the leader in the CCHA in power play goals, as here's an icing against Minnesota State. The faceoff will come back down into the O-zone. But Waters today playing with Jaden Grant as the centerman and Dom Ryman as the left winger has scored 2 assists this season, no goals yet. And that's been the main focus of Brody Waters, or at least where he's been most successful, is on the blue paint in front. That's where he got the majority of his goals last season, was within about 10 feet of the goaltender. Slap shot, Dalton Norris kicked away off of a Minnesota State defenseman. Braden Crampton to keep it inside the blue line is pulled out by Minnesota State. That's Scholl in. Stender clears it away, and going for a change is Minnesota State. They have the long change now. Bowling Green scoring on the right end of the ice. Minnesota State scoring on the left, and Minnesota State's bench is on the left side of the ice, closer to Jacob Steinman than they are toward Alex Tracy. Psycho's bumped away from the puck. Lemire dumps it in. He's got 2 goals and a point, or an extra point on an assist in this game. Evan Murr walks in, right wing wheel, and a save by Jacob Steinman. He's way out of the goal. Puck behind with Evan Murr still back behind the goal line. Crampton gets his stick on the puck as it was crossed over into the slot. A nice save there by Jacob Steinman, coming up big time with Evan Murr just ready to pounce. Out to center ice, Bergmanis gets it away to Murr. Murr, a nice pass up to Lemire. Lemire crosses it in. Benincasa with a shot, and it's off wide. Benincasa, a huge rip there. He's back behind the goal line again. Feeds it out toward the blue line. Psychos has to take a step outside. He can't hold it inside the line to stay. Watkins also has a goal today. He had the first goal for Minnesota State to bring it within a one-score game as Minnesota State found themselves down 2-0 early. Jack Smith with the shot in, slapped around by Zetterberg. Left by Lurie. Zetterberg with a pass into the slot. High shot there by Bergmanis, and it's wide. Ryman skates it out to center ice on the logo to Quinn Emerson. Emerson on the right wing, down to the goal line. He's defended by Jacob Conrad. Pass over into the slot. Brett Foe is taken away from the puck, and now Jack Smith comes the other way. Smith dumps it in, gets the Mavericks a change. Ivan Korodiak plays the puck behind his goal. Wraps it around, out to Foe. Center ice, lead pass up to Levis, won't connect. Lurie takes it. He's dropped down to the ice. No penalty coming to the Falcons. Definitely could have got a trip there. Lurie with the puck on the left wing, looking to distribute it out to another white jersey. Brett Foe playing without a stick currently, and he'll skate off for a change. Zlinka on the ice for Foe. McKinley chases the puck back down into his own zone. Bowling Green with some offensive zone time. Now here's a backhand try by Jordan Rahn. Jake Sloan takes it out to center ice again. Evan Murr gets a touch on the puck back into the Bowling Green end of the ice. Steinman plays around to Murr on the right wing. Murr inside the Bowling Green blue line. The dumping play by the Falcons is intercepted. Benincasa on the left wing, out to Bergmanis. Bergmanis, the defenseman, down to Benincasa, the centerman. Out to the right wing. Evan Murr's been on the ice for a while. He takes a lot of minutes for this Maverick team. Ron with the puck again, working into the slot. His shot is off of the stick of Ben Duran. Out to the blue line again. Murr to Benincasa. Benincasa down. He's pushed away down to the goal line by Breck McKinley. A nice defensive play with the stick and the skates. Korodiak finishes his check. Duran does the same into the boards, pins the puck up against the corner, and it's cleared down to the other end of the ice by Bowling Green. And icing against the Falcons, so they will not get fresh legs, but they do clear the puck out of trouble. Psychos and Strand on the ice now as defensemen. And Stender, Morick, and Scholl on the ice as forwards for Minnesota State, leading 3-2 with 15:33 left to play in the second period. 2 goals, 1 assist for Tristan Lemire, the transfer from Western Michigan. 33 points in 96 games in his career coming into today. 3 goals, 3 assists, and 6 points this season, and just his first with Minnesota State. Puck back down to Alex Tracy in the other end of the ice. He hasn't seen any action so far. Bowling Green's had the puck in the O-zone, but not able to get a shot on goal off. Sternberg out to the blue line. Conrad keeps it in. Scholl dumps it down behind the goal line. Stender misses the puck, skates away from it. Strand has to dump it back down behind the goal. Minnesota State has to get back on sides. 2-man forecheck, a 2-1-2 defense. Dom Ryman cherry picking down the other end of the ice, stretches the ice quite a bit. Gets it open. Mason Wheeler shuts it off, bumps him up against the boards. Waters with the puck, gets it poked away. Scholl clears it out to the blue line. Sternberg keeps it in. Waters with a good move. He's dropped down to the ice. Mason Wheeler plays the puck out to Ryman. Ryman could have settled it down in the O-zone, but it went between his legs and around the stick. Morick, he's bumped away. Crampton up a nice pass to Dom Ryman. The freshman connection there. Down behind the goal, played by Wheeler with Evan Murr. 6 minutes, 40 seconds expired here in the second period, and probably a good 5 minutes of them have been played with Evan Murr on the ice. Morneau ranging into the offensive zone, and it's an offside against the Falcons, so the puck will come back out to center. 14-13 left to play in the second. 3-2. Bowling Green trailing Minnesota State. Minnesota State 4-2-2 on the season. 1-1 in the CCHA. Their first series a difficult one against St. Thomas. One game in Minneapolis. Another game here in the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center in Mankato, Minnesota. McKinley stops the puck dead on the boards. Lurie in there as well. The whistle blows, and we're going to get an O-zone faceoff for the Falcons, who get some offensive guys on the ice. A couple of Mavericks standing on the bench looking to get a quick change when they can clear the puck out. Exactly 14 minutes left to play in the second. Jake Sloan in for the draw. A bit early there is Jack Smith. Transfer from Minnesota Duluth, where he played for 3 seasons. Smith scored a goal and an assist in game 1 against RPI. Power play goal, that's his 8th career goal. Not much of a goal scorer at Minnesota Duluth. Only 26 points and 7 goals in 3 seasons. Out to their own blue line, Minnesota State's Jack Smith takes it up to the left wing, Lurie. Lurie ranges in. His shot toward Steinman is off of the stick of Brett Foe, who's played pretty well today. He's had some very solid shifts, including getting an assist on the first goal. Second goal of the season by Connor Levis. Second assist of the season for Brett Foe, and 5th assist of the season for Breck McKinley, who has been a very nice passer for Bowling Green. Good things seem to happen when Breck McKinley's on the ice. Zlinka crosses it over to Tyler Hodson. Hodson was camped out in the blue paint, messing with Alex Tracy, and Campbell Syke goes into the slot. Levis goes for a pass to the streaking Ben Duran. Hodson, slap shot, McKinley into the chest of Alex Tracy, and Tracy will hold on for the whistle. Nice puck movement there from Bowling Green in the O-zone. That's their first shot on goal of the second period, as says the scoreboard. 13-10, Minnesota State leads that department. They also lead in face-off percentage, which Bowling Green leads the nation in face-off percentage with north of 58% of their face-offs they've won this season. An unbelievable number for the Falcons, who have historically been a good team in the circles, spanning from the time with Ty Eigner now to Dennis Williams. Amazingly enough, not a focus for this team game in and game out as much as possession is, but they certainly gain a lot of possession off of winning faceoffs. Minnesota State with the puck. Morik throws it into the O-zone. A nice skating forward as well. Beats a couple of Falcons. Good poke check there by Jaden Grant behind the goal. Gets the puck away and into the left wing boards, kind of away from danger. Scholl takes the check. Brody Waters skates it out down the right wing. Defended by Mason Wheeler. Wheeler pushes Waters into the corner. Waters still with the puck behind the goal. Discs it out to Max Martin. Max Martin, his shot in is blocked by Jacob Stender, and now Minnesota State comes the other way. Shot into the corner, dropped down. Scholl to play the puck. He's got it in the corner. Sawyer Scholl outside of the blue line, couldn't hold it in. Quinn Emerson down the right wing. He's streaking. Emerson, a nice move. His pass back into the slot after he was rejected by Tracy. Tracy will have to retrieve his stick. A nice rush there by Quinn Emerson, looking for a 3rd straight game with a goal. He had the 2 opening goals in the Bemidji State series, one in the first game, one in the second game. Played very well. Nice to see Quinn get on the stat sheet. Luigi Benincasa down the left wing. His shot in, saved in the chest by Jacob Steinman. That's his 6th save of the game on a breakaway with Luigi Benincasa. So back-to-back breakaways, neither one of them connect. 11:31 left to play in the second period. Minnesota State still leading 3-2 after a 5-goal first period between the Falcons and the Mavericks, and the Mavericks home ice. Smith in for the draw again. Drafted by Montreal, 102nd overall in the 2020 NHL draft. 102nd is round 4. A couple of Mavericks drafted NHL teams. 2 Falcons in the lineup today. Adam Zlinka to Utah, or to Arizona originally, but now the draft capital of the Utah Mammoth. And Connor Levis, the draft capital of the Winnipeg Jets, who have a pretty good team put together right now, resting on the shoulders of Connor Hellebuck. Here's Stjernberg out into the slot. Brett Foe back to Stjernberg. Stjernberg, a big slap shot off the side of the net. Connor Levis battling in the right wing corner. Foe gets in there now. To Stjernberg, now to Norris. Norris on the left wing point to Stjernberg. Stjernberg, his shot in, banks around the other side of the goal, and it's cleared out by Finn Williams. It's immediately back into the zone. Jake Sloan loses control of the puck. Dropped down to the ice is Connor Levis. It's a turnover to Minnesota State. They had numbers there for a second, but couldn't get their guys together. Smith whacks at the puck. Zetterberg keeps it inside the zone as the Mavericks were going for a change. Benincasa, Watkins, and Lemire, the forward line that has been a nightmare for the Falcons so far, is back out on the ice. Simonovic goes for a pretty sizable check on the alternate captain, Luigi Benincasa. On the right wing, Sykos comes away with the puck. Hodson keeps it in the corner. McKinley battling for the puck as he takes steps in from the blue line, and now Watkins skates away. Liam Watkins, transfer from Omaha after last season. 15 games played and only 4 points for Liam Watkins, who has a goal in this game. Bergmanis out to the point. Sykos the shot in, is dropped down in front of Steinman. Back out to Sykos. Slap shot directed in front by Watkins, but couldn't get it onto the net. Bergmanis down to the goal line. Nice pass. Lemire over in tight to Steinman, and it's cleared away to the right wing now. Minnesota State still in the O-zone. Bergmanis down to the goal line. Benincasa pressed up against the boards by McKinley. Benincasa squirts free, but now is pinned back up again by both Simonovic and Breck McKinley. The whistle will blow as I believe a referee lost sight of the puck and will drop somewhere in the left side of the ice on your radio dial. Under 10 minutes left to play in the second period. 3-2. Minnesota State leads Bowling Green. This timeout brought to you by Juniper Brewing Company, proud creators of the Ale Ziggy Zumba, a light ale made in collaboration with Bowling Green Athletics, a fan favorite in the Madhouse on Mercer, also available at 145 South Main Street and downtown Bowling Green. For latest menus and Juniper Brewing Company details, go to juniperbrew.com. 3-2, Minnesota State leads, 9.5 left to play here in the second period. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Falcon Media Sports Network writes and publishes over 1,000 stories per year, including game previews, recaps, sidebars, opinion pieces, feature stories, and more. Head over to bgfalconmedia.com to view all of our content for every sport throughout the year.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
You are tuned into live BGSU hockey coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM from the Falcon Media Sports Network.
Back here in the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center in Mankato, Minnesota, the home of Minnesota State men's hockey, who leads Bowling Green 3-2. All 5 goals scored in the first period. No scoring. It's dried up a bit. Here in the second, face-off on the left side of neutral ice. Waters, Grant, and Ryman out for the Falcons. Bergmanis to Evan Murr as the face-off is won by Minnesota State. They've been good in that department so far today, and a lot of their puck possession has come off of that. Out to center ice, Minnesota State's Reed Morick Stender is bumped away from the puck, now comes back to it. His shot is saved by Steinman. Good reaction with the right shoulder there by the freshman tender for Bowling Green. Dom Ryman breaks it down the right wing. He's shut off by Evan Murr. Nice defensively. Shot in. Oh, directed down by Jaden Grant, but it bounces away from Alex Tracy. Doesn't even get to the rack. Taking it in is Jordan Ron. Ron is stopped up against the boards. Sternberg with the puck. Long feed to Max Martin, and it's long. Martin couldn't get a stick on it, and it's going to be an icing against the Falcons, who do have a fresh set of skaters on the ice, but now an O-zone faceoff for Minnesota State, who's done pretty well in the faceoff circle so far. Benincasa gonna step in the dot. The center has 2 points in 6 career games against Bowling Green. All points in the second series against Bowling Green when he played at Ferris State on February 2nd and 3rd of 2024. He has not scored a point against the Falcons since. His line mates have, Liam Watkins and Tristan Lemire, but he has not, at least so far. Sternberg at the blue line. Keeps it inside the blue line, just barely. Skating it down to the right wing wheel. Feeds it over, in tight with the goaltender, and it's brought away by Minnesota State. Benincasa looking to get it out. Psychos does. Drop down to the ice is Lemire, and a cross-checking coming here to Breck McKinley. Right at the blue line, right in front of the goaltender. Caught Lemire right in the back. Wait, they're not going to give him one? Oh, wow. Okay, well, no penalty. Face off one back to Minnesota State. I think Bowling Green got a break there. Pretty clear cross check by McKinley. Into the corner is Zetterberg. Distant relation to Henrik Zetterberg, a centerman for the Detroit Red Wings. Here's a turnover and out to the blue line. Wheeler has shot in off of the cage. Niedermeyer getting bumped up. He skates as the extra skater today, played defense in the second game against Bemidji, has played forward almost all of his time at Bowling Green, aside from that second Bemidji game. Out to Smith. Smith touches the puck, center ice. It's swept away by Psychos, away from Brett Foe. Foe takes the body into the boards. Bowling Green looking to come away with the puck in the O-zone. They've played some nice shifts the last couple of minutes. Zlinka will skate back and grab the puck. 7:13 left to play in the second period. Still a 1-goal lead for Minnesota State. Mason Wheeler in the corner. He's checked by Adam Zlinka. Out to Stender. Stender across his own logo. Sawyer Scholl to Stender. Stender's shot is wide left of the rack. Now Hodson comes the other way. It's a 4-on-3 for the Falcons. Braden Crampton moves it through center. Now Hodson behind the goal. He's hit a bit high there, but he's pressed up against the boards by Bergmanis. Out to Stender on the left wing boards in his own zone. Zlinka gets the puck out to Hodson. Frees the puck from the boards. Lead pass up to Sawyer Scholl on the left wing. 2 defensemen back for Bowling Green, so won't result in a breakaway. Korodiak takes the body into the boards. Up to Hodson again, getting the puck outside the blue line. Conrad couldn't hold it in. Jacob Conrad, as we mentioned, transfer from Lake Superior State last season. Game-winning power play goal at home against RPI this season has been his claim so far. Benincasa in the corner. Swept away by Watkins. Out to Conrad. To the right wing. Shot in. Watkins is tied up a bit. Now he gets the puck off the half wall. Down to Lemire. Lemire curls it out toward the blue line. Looking for a pass. Looking for a shot. Backhanded in by Watkins. And it bounces away from Steinman. 5:45 left to play in the second period. Minnesota State will grab the puck back in their own zone. Nope. Let it go for an icing. And Bowling Green will get a change, it looks like. Fans join us after the game on Saturday, November 22nd for the first Maverick autograph session. So they'll let Bowling Green get a change for some reason. They get some fresh legs. Sternberg and Crampton back as defensemen. Ryman, Duran, and Zlinka out as forwards to the left of Jacob Steinman in the Bowling Green end of the ice. And for the faceoff is Finn Williams. As one back, Conrad will scamper into his own zone. Another icing against the Falcons, who are going to try and clear and get a change, it looks like. 5:30 left to play in the second period. 3-2, a 5-goal scored first period. And then we haven't seen one since, at least so far, with some time left to play in the second. Connor Levis, Adam Zlinka, the goal scorers for the Falcons. Liam Watkins and Tristan Lemire, the goal scorers for Minnesota State. Lemire's got 2, his 4th and 5th of the season, and the 5th on a power play. Penalty given to Brett Foe. Fake's taken inside the blue line. Bowling Green clears it back out promptly. And another whistle and another drop, but Bowling Green will finally get a change as the puck is out of play. Just an update on Bowling Green women's soccer, who played today in the Mid-American Conference Championship, the MAC Championship, in the tournament. One against Buffalo in overtime, one against Miami in shootout, and now has fallen to Western Michigan in historic Crew Stadium down in Columbus. Second season of Chris Fox, a pretty successful one, but not able to come up with hardware at the end of the season. Shot in from Bergmanis is gloved by Steinman. Williams and what looks to be Jaden Grant exchanging some pleasantries to the side of the blue paint. 5:09 left to play in the second period. Back half of this period is kind of ground to a halt, and a lot of it being these two teams have played very evenly, especially in puck possession. It's spent a little bit more in the Bowling Green end of the ice, with Minnesota State having tilted their offense quite a bit toward the Falcons and leads by a goal because of it. But it's been fairly competitive in this second period, not a distinct advantage either way for either of these teams. Sternberg off the half wall. Somebody dropped their glove and cannot play until they grab it. It's Tyler Hodson. He grabs his glove. Murr, the shot in, is off of the skate of Jaden Grant and down to the half wall behind the goal of Jacob Steinman. Around the left wing, Scholl back down to Finn Williams. Finn Williams tries to find another white jersey. Scholl collapses in on the boards. Bergmanis to Scholl. Scholl, his shot in is off the kicker of Steinman. Scholl back out to the blue line, not held in by Bergmanis. Tyler Hodson will gain position on this puck. He'll get it in the corner. He pins it up so his Falcons can come help him. Morneau out with Quinn Emerson, it looks like. 4:20 left to play in the second period. Bowling Green in the offensive zone. McKinley and Karodiak guarding the blue line. Hodson off. Max Martin on. The clearing attempt fails. Here's Noah Morneau on the right wing. To the left wing point, Ivan Karodiak, his shot in, knocked down on the slot, and scampers it into the corner. Martin, McKinley, slap shot, glove save. Kicker save by Alex Tracy. Behind the goal again, Quinn Emerson battling for the puck. He's got 2 straight games with a goal. Max Martin on the left wing, working in, goal line, his shot in tight to Alex Tracy, who's pushed into the net a bit. No goal is the call. Jacob Conrad stuffs the Falcon down to the ice. No goal, a prime chance for Bowling Green as Alex Tracy makes his 14th save of the game. Oh, and it looks like they're going to send a Falcon and a Maverick off. It's Max Martin and Ralph Bergmanis. That'll skate off, most likely for roughing. Dalton Norris, the captain for Bowling Green, awaiting the official call from the referees. Max Martin was stuffed down to the ice. Didn't hear what the second one was, but Bergmanis was 2 minutes for roughing. Max Martin got something that prompted some laughs here in Mankato. So maybe embellishment or something to that effect, but we're going to get some 4-on-4 hockey here, which is pretty scary against Minnesota State with the defensive group that they have. Right now it's Mason Wheeler and Campbell Psychos, both seniors. Both have been with Minnesota State for over 100 games, 121 for Wheeler, 115 for Campbell Psychos, and 33 combined points between the two defensemen on the same pairing, as they have been for about a season and a half now. Benincasa in the dot for the draw against Ben Duran. Jackson Niedermeyer now skating defense for the Falcons. Gustav Stjernberg takes it up the left wing, face-off won by the Falcons. Crosses it over into the middle, pulled away by Luigi Benincasa, and he comes the other way. Down the left wing into the offensive zone. To the right wing, Campbell Psychos can't hold on to the puck. Stjernberg comes away, gets it to Ben Duran. A 4-on-4 for the next minute 40 seconds. Minnesota State with the puck in their own zone. That's Mason Wheeler wearing number 5. Left-handed 6'2" senior playing with Psychos, one of the best defensive pairings in the CCHA. Down the left wing comes Noah Morneau. Morneau shoots, he scores, beats Tracy, ties it up 3-3. A sweet treat for Noah Morneau. He gets his second goal of the season. The rookie's shining today for the Falcons, as it's a tie game with 3:07 left to play in the second. Only goal so far in the second period. It's with 4-on-4, so it'll still be 4-on-4 here as Noah Morneau wins that draw. He's playing center today with Max Martin and Quinn Emerson. An even strength goal for Noah Morneau on the 4-on-4. Assisted by Breck McKinley. That's his second assist of the game, his 6th of the season, and McKinley's hot streak continues with his sublime passing. Here comes Braden Crampton through center to the left wing, and Hodson can't hold on to the puck, so Minnesota State will come up with it. Jacob Conrad skating into the neutral zone with 45 seconds left to play and 4-on-4. He's hit as he goes down behind the goal line. Gets it to the right wing, Zetterberg. Alex Zetterberg around to the left wing. Jacob Stender's pressed up against the boards into the Minnesota State bench. Flipped out to center. Crampton's puck is gloved and dropped by Tyler Hodson. Hodson skates around his goal to get some separation from Jacob Stender on the forecheck. Stender and Scholl out as forwards. Hodson skates through. He's on the right wing now, outside of the right wing wheel. Pass up to the point. Now to the right wing. Gustav Stjernberg at the blue line again. Moves in tight. What a chance by Jackson Niedermeyer, who take a step off for Dalton Norris. Time expiring in the 4-on-4. Out of the box comes Max Martin. Out of the box comes Rouse Bergmanis. Martin will skate to play. Bergmanis will skate right to the bench. Coming in is Scholl. Scholl's shot is off of both kickers of Jacob Steinman. 3-3 with a minute 30 left to play in the second period. Bowling Green tied it up a second ago. Noah Morneau, a nice wrist shot from the left wing on the 4-on-4. Puck at center ice. Skated away by Lemire. Lemire's got 2 goals today. Watkins, his pass is intercepted by Bowling Green. Stjernberg and Norris, a defensive pairing from last year, playing with each other in the late goings of the second period. 55 remaining in the second period. Here's Brody Waters, his shot in off the corner of the rack. Alex Tracy's been beat 3 times today, and we're not yet into the third period. 2.5 goals scored per game for both of these teams. Psychos is down to the ice. Puck into the corner. Brody Waters still in the O-zone. He's pressed up. Puck away. Bowling Green still trying to put together some late second period offense. 30 seconds left to play in the second. Breck McKinley down to the goal line. Back out to the blue line. Here's Braden Crampton. Crampton a couple steps in. His shot is off of Benincaza's skate. It's into the corner. banks back to Alex Tracy. He covers it up with 20 seconds to play in the second period.
You can catch all the exciting action by subscribing to Midco Sports Plus 2 package at msumavericks.com/Midco. Mayo Clinic Health System, the official sports medicine.
Noah Morneau's goal, 16:53 mark on the 4-on-4, so it will not count as power play. It's even strength. An impressive goal for Morneau. Actually, the first goal of the game, not scored from pretty much right in front of the blue paint. All three of Minnesota State's, both of Bowling Green's in the first period, coming from pretty tight end with the goaltenders at the time, Cole Moore and Alex Tracy from Minnesota State. Now it's Jacob Steinman, who's been very good so far for the Falcons. Time expires here in the second period, but Bowling Green able to tie it up and make it a 3-3 game heading into the final 20 miles of the marathon here at Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Bowling Green women's basketball heads down to Columbia to face their toughest opponent of the season in nationally ranked South Carolina on Friday, November 7th at 7 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Lucas Kleinmeyer will be on the call for the game from Colonial Life Arena in Columbia. Adam Duffin, Trey Kennedy, and Foster Rostai will host the pregame, halftime, and postgame show starting at 6:35 p.m. on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events. To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Welcome back to WBGU. The second intermission report brought to you in the memory of Marta Crow, Falcon Hockey fanatic, and Falcon Hockey on WBGU 80.1 FM listener. So we are all tied up again. BG tied up with Minnesota State 3-3 at the conclusion of the second period. The last goal was scored by Noah Monroe. That was on a 4-on-4 play for both squads. So that tied things up. Again, Artie Abrego joined by Nathan Burkett and Dan Reiner. And guys, just how major was that last goal? Just to end the second period on a high like that.
It's huge, not just for the game, but for the period, because obviously you tied the game. But Bowling Green, for much of that period, did not have a lot of good opportunities. They did not take their first shot of the period for a little bit after the 7-minute mark into the game, or into the period. We talked about coming into that period with a fresh start, and they did not do that. Luckily, Jacob Steinman stepped up when he needed to be. Made a total of 7 saves through the period, stopped all of them, all the shots he faced. Still has a 100% save percentage on the game. It's been very good for him so far. But you get a quick 4-on-4 opportunity after a scrum in front, and Noah Morneau capitalizes.
Oh, absolutely. And Breck McKinley right now, like you mentioned, able to get the assist on the Noah Morneau goal. And I mean, looking at McKinley right now, second in Bowling Green, that's his 5th assist of the season. So really great to see him get that, and it's definitely what you needed, especially as this one kind of was a little opposite to the trend where we've seen the goals being automatic and near the beginning of the period. This one being a little bit later, but definitely huge for Bowling Green. They really needed to get that, and now here you are. We kind of talked about like today's a new day, today's a new game, and controlling the offense, and so far that was where it happened, and now you're going to have an opportunity to hopefully try to go into the third period and capitalize on it like you did in the first.
And we mentioned him a little, I think Nathan did, but Jacob Steinman, how major has he been since checking in this game? I mean, 10 saves already, and they kept them Minnesota State scoreless in that second period. How well has he played today?
He's been a great goalie ever since he got here. And, when you come into a game, Cole Moore gets the start. When you come into a game like that, you're coming in cold. He especially came in cold because usually in the situation you might see them like change it up after the first period. So you at least have a a period to like stretch in the locker room, get warmed up. He doesn't have that. He comes right into the game. I think making those 3 saves early gave him some confidence going into the intermission. He comes out, just keeps it up. He's been a strong player all year so far for Bowling Green, and again leads the team. We don't have the exact stats so far because this game is unconcluded, but up to this point in the season, .917 save percentage, leads the team in save percentage, and it's looking like that save percentage is just going to improve after tonight's performance.
Well, and you kind of bring it back to the idea of where you have too much goaltending can be a good thing, and we've seen that a lot with Bowling Green. I mean, you take it to the Eric Dopp days, you take it to the Chris Nell days even, if you remember that, like Nate and I do. But beyond that, I mean, you look at Halifax, the way, Steinman played with them, a 2.8 goals against average, a .917 save percentage, really just shows the versatility and the way that he can be reliable for Bowling Green. And it's great to have depth in goaltending, and Bowling Green is showing that so far. And I mean, this is nothing against Colmore. I mean, everybody has their rough nights, and it's unfortunate it's coming against, the best team in the CCHA, but everybody's going to fall short now and again, and it's great that you're able to have that backup like Bowling Green has.
I mean, 3 goals against one of the best teams, maybe the best team in the CCHA. I mean, Alex Trace today, he's let up 3 goals. I mean, has that Falcons attack just been that good, or do you think it's more of a matter of like something you mentioned earlier on the pregame show, Nathan, where you just have to get those dirty goals against Alex Tracy?
Oh, I haven't been able to see the video of Morneau's goal yet, but at least for the first 2 goals from Zlunka, and who scored the other one real quick? Connor Levis. Both of them dirty goals. Just Levis's was a tip shot from the point. Zlunka off a rebound, a net front scrum. That's how you're going to score on Tracy. For Zlunka's goal, he wasn't even upright. He was on his back after he got knocked over by Tyler Hodson, which was reviewed for goaltender interference. The goal was upheld. But it just goes to show when Tracy is on his game and when he's getting clear looks at the puck and when he's facing clear shots, he's automatic. When you start throwing in rebound opportunities, net front scrums, screen plays, then it becomes a little bit more challenging. And that's how you're going to score on a goaltender like Alex Tracy, taking his eyes out of the play, not letting him see the puck, changing direction of the puck at the last second. That's how you got to score.
Well, and speaking from experience as well, Nate, as a defenseman, when you have that forward in front, you're really trying to move them out of the way because they're going to screen. And Connor Levis, was doing his job perfectly, just screening there. And, Tracy had nothing to see. It was definitely difficult. And it was a bit of a fumble just as a team for Minnesota State that got Bowling Green on the board. And that's really where it began. And then you're able to get Zlinka on the board as well. And yes, there was some communication whether or not that one was going to get called. You could go here or there on that. And really overall, that's where it began. It is those dirty goals. We haven't seen, like, for example, Sternberg just taking one from the point going top right. We haven't seen the one-timers, but we're seeing those goals, and they count just the exact same so far. And really overall, that's how Bowling Green is going to win this. They're not going to get those beautiful goals that you're going to want to see on television. They're going to get those goals that are going to get you the wins.
All right, so we're going to take a short break here, but when we come back, we're going to take a look around the CCHA, and we're also going to have more discussion on tonight's game. You're listening to WBGU 88.1 FM. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Falcon Volleyball returns to the Stroh Center seeking to get back on track into their winning ways against Akron on Saturday, November 8th. Falcon Media Sports Network's Andrew Smith and Trey Kennedy have the call of the game, beginning at 3:45 for pregame and 4 for first serve. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM, your home for BGSU Volleyball.
Welcome back here to WBGU 88.1 FM for your Martyr Crow second intermission report, brought to you by the Falcon Media Sports Network on WBGU 88.1 FM. Now, before we went to break, we mentioned we're going to take a little look around the CCHA, see what's going on around it, other action going on in the conference. Dan, you want to break it down for us?
I'd sure be glad to. Obviously, we're going to start out the game that you are listening to right now. Second intermission, tied up Bowling Green and Minnesota State at 3. And then let's take it to the state of Minnesota as well with Lake Superior and Bemidji. The Beavers are up 2-1 over the Lakers at the end of the second period. We have 2 more games going, and both of those have finished. Michigan Tech, in a big rivalry game for the Huskies, will defeat Northern Michigan by a final score of 4-1. And then finally, we have the Falcons' next week opponent in the Ferris State Bulldogs will fall short to Augustana 4-2.
A lot of action going on around in the conference right now. Some concluded, obviously. Now, as for the rest of the game, guys, we're heading into the third period. Last 20 minutes of play. What do you guys foresee happening? Like, what do both teams need to do in this third period to pick up the win?
They both need to keep playing their own brand of hockey if they want to win. If you're Minnesota State, keep out shooting the Falcons, keep winning faceoffs, which is one thing that they've done very well today, especially against Bowling Green, which is known for their faceoff winning ability. Keep taking all the good shots. You have the skill players, use them. If you're BG, you also have skill players, not as skilled as Minnesota State's. Keep going for the dirty goals. Keep setting guys in front. Get people in front of get people in front of Alex Tracy. Take his eyes away. If you're shooting from the point, don't be looking for a highlight reel goal. Be looking for rebound opportunities. Get in the blue paint, get in the slot, and just see what you can do.
Well, and kind of on top of that as well, there's a little similarity and a little difference, if that makes sense, Nate and Artie, to last week with Bemidji State, where they had a lead and they ended up losing it, but the difference with this and Bemidji State is Bemidji, it happened in the third period. There wasn't a lot of time to get the lead and keep the momentum going. At least here, you lose that lead in the first period, so you kind of get humbled a little bit. You kind of have to get and realize, like, this is no joke. We can't get too comfortable even when we do have a lead. We still got to go out there and play. And right now, it's 0-0. You're going to have that mentality. And, Coach Willie's he's going to preach intensity right now. He's going to preach that you have to go out there and you have to go take it to him. And Bowling Green, they're known to play that style of hockey when they have to. And, I mean, in some instances, you'll try to stray away from it. But overall, it's really going to have to go out to the guys on the ice and going there through and through. And it can't be just one person. I mean, we've seen that with Bowling Green. You only have to pick one person with pick the stick. But, if Ben, Lucas, Tyler, or Artie for today was able to pick 2 or 3 people, they would definitely want to, because that's how Bowling Green works. They're not a one-man show. They have to rely on the entire team.
Minnesota State, what do you guys think about them? Do you think they need to do anything specific to kind of overcome Bowling Green right now, or do they think they need to just get back on track? Speaking is hard. Do you think they just need to get back on track with what they're doing or the brand they play?
Offensively, they just need to keep playing their style of play. They outshot the Falcons. They've been outshooting the Falcons so far this game. Defensively, though, we talked about BG's going to be looking for these dirty goals. Best way to navigate that is if you're a defenseman, shove people out of the way. You have to keep the blue paint clear, keep your goaltender's eyes, give him a good view of the play. You can't just let someone from the Falcons just make a claim to the blue paint and just stand right in front of Tracy. You got to push them out of the play. You got to get them out of the way while also being in position to potentially block shots.
I would say part of it is shutting down Tristan Lemire. I mean, we talk about, a transfer from Western Michigan, was with Denver and then won a national there, and then goes to Western Michigan, wins a national there. But so you're going to have to shut him down a little bit. I mean, he has 2 goals tonight, so definitely keeping Minnesota State in this game. And then I'd say the other thing as well is giving the help out to Tracy right now. I mean, that's kind of what happens at times in the sport of hockey. You kind of get a little too over-reliant on your goaltender. And, he's got 14 shots, let in 3 goals, 8.824 save percentage. So you can't rely on him as much as you'd hope to. And part of that's just because he's a person. He can't do it by himself. That's why you have 5 other guys out there. So overall, it's going to be giving back up to Tracy, helping out your own goaltender, and then also, too, looking at the weapons that you have and just taking advantage of them.
All right, so that's going to do it for the Martyr Crow second intermission report of the night. We'll be back for your post-game show after Ben Korak has concluded his broadcast. But right now, BGSU hockey tied up 3-3 with Minnesota State. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll bring it back with Ben Korak for the rest of tonight's action, only on WBGU 88.1 FM. Don't go anywhere.
you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Unlike other local sources, Falcon Media Sports Network and BG Falcon Media will never charge a paywall to view our content. However, if you are looking to support student media, you can donate at the bottom of our stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
The Bowling Green women's volleyball team will host the Akron Zips in a Mid-American Conference matchup on Friday, November 7th at 6 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Andrew Smith and Holden Ruck will record the broadcast live from the Stroh Center. Make sure to head over to bgfalconmedia.com after the conclusion of the match to listen to the full broadcast.
Check out the Zig Zone Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Back here in the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center, the home of Minnesota State hockey, and it's 3-3 between the Mavericks and the Falcons through 40 minutes of play. Ben Korek here from the Falcon Media Sports Network. For all BGSU sports news and updates, go to bgfalconmedia.com and BG_FMSN on Twitter X. Also, thank you to Artie, Dan, and Nathan back in the Cooling Center studios that did our second intermission report. And you'll hear from them in post-game as well. Our Pick the Stick updates still stand as the same as it was after one period of play. I have 1 point from Tyler Hodson's assist, and Jaden Grant, Brody Waters, and Dom Ryman have not earned any points so far this game, and Lucas, Tyler, and Artie are 0 for on their selections. Again, go to BG_FMSN on Twitter for the graphic and post-game and pre-game updates on Pick the Stick happenings. Ben Duran in the dot against Reed Morick, and the faceoff is won back to Bowling Green. They dump it into the offensive zone quickly, which is on the left side of your radio dial now. Behind the goal, taken around, it's Tyler Hodson. Hodson's skated well today. He's got the assist on the second goal. Adam Zlinka's goal, his second point of the season, his first goal of the season as well. Ben Duran behind the goal line. And it is Tyler Hodson again on the right wing. Puck is peeled away. Knocked down to the ice is Zlinka. Zlinka battling in the corner with Campbell Psychos. Bowling Green crossing pass into the slot. McKinley couldn't hold it in as he was going over to the bench for a change, and grabbing the puck is Braden Crampton in his own end. Crampton, just a defenseman, has been very influential on the Falcons this season as a point in 3 games this season, 2 goals, 1 assist. Doesn't have one today, but he's a point per game scorer last season with Spokane in the WHL. As this play is offsides for Minnesota State, they'll come outside the zone with just a minute expired here in the third. Minnesota State played tight games with St. Thomas last weekend. They took a 3-1 win in regulation at St. Thomas, and then a 4-3 overtime loss to St. Thomas. So they had successful in the realm of 4 points on the weekend, although the wins went 1-1 at the home and home. Each away team won in that series between the purple and white and the purple and yellow of Minnesota State, and the puck goes out into the crowd. So again, we'll drop puck this time on the left wheel of Jacob Steinman, who's coming in relief of Cole Moore. The junior goaltender gave up 3 goals in the first period with only 5 saves recorded, and just didn't really have it today. So Jacob Steinman was given the net, and he's made 10 straight saves. Gustav Sternberg flips it out to center ice. Max Martin reaches over his head to drop the puck down in a playable realm, and the puck is iced back down by Minnesota State, and it'll be face-off in the Bowling Green zone. So a good dump there and a nice play for Max Martin to let it go. That was Here's Jaden Grant along with Brody Waters and Tom Ryman. A high-powered first line. Jaden Grant, the epitome of a 200-foot player. Brody Waters, a great goal scorer last season, has the potential to do so again. This here's a bit of a breakaway, stifled quickly by Tristan Lemire. Now Luigi Benincasa, his shot into the chest of Steinman. And a whistle as Benincasa is pressed into the boards by the Falcons after the whistle. 3-3, 18:25 left to play in the third. Don't know why the whistle went, possibly an offsides. So we'll get a face-off in the neutral zone. Official attendance today here in Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center, 3,745. A very nice crowd here in Mankato on a Friday night. Probably will be better tomorrow for the Saturday night game, which in Eastern time is 7:07 p.m. Broadcast starts at 6:45 here from Mankato again with myself and a couple of people back in the Cooling Center studios for another room of board ops that'll discuss intermission reports and post-game and pre-game and the like of the shows that we're trying to put in here at the Falcon Media Sports Network. Brett Foe down the left wing at the left wing wheel. He's pressed up against the boards by Hupka. Liam Hupka, freshman defenseman. Jake Sloan pokes it away from the slot. Sternberg keeps it inside the blue line. Bowling Green still in the offensive zone. Hupka takes a small check from Connor Levis. Puck away. Smith lets it go. Back for Bowling Green possession in their own end. 17:30 left to play in the third period. Still tied 3-3 in the third. Puck lifted high in the air over the head of Alex Tracy into the net. So a faceoff will come out of the offensive zone and in central ice.
Making every day a better day.
It'll come directly to the logo in center, the Maverick logo. Finn Williams looks like he's going to take the draw along with Ben Duran. Bowling Green now on top and faceoffs won 22-19. They trailed by a bit in that department before, only trailing in shots by 3 and shots on goal by 1. Steinman plays the puck behind his goal. Sternberg out to Zlinka. Out to center ice. Nice sliding play there by Ben Duran. He slides right in to get control of the puck, and now here's a breakaway. Lemire looking for his third. It's into Steinman. It squeaks through Steinman, and it's poked in on the backside. Minnesota State comes away with their 4th goal of the game. Campbell Psychos getting in deep. The defenseman gives Minnesota State a 1-goal lead. Steinman was just holding on to the puck. He had it for a full beat. It looked like just not enough for the referee to get the whistle off. It trickled between his legs and down across the goal line. Campbell Psychos' first goal of the season, only his 3rd career. Also his 2nd point today as he assisted on the first Tristan Lemire goal that made it a 3-2 game. Sender back into the offensive zone. Minnesota State looking to get ahead again as there's a big chance for Reed Morick, and he can't complete it. Back into the Bowling Green offensive zone. Quinn Emerson taken out by Ralph Bergmanis. Down behind the Minnesota State goal line. Niedermeyer skating defenseman now. Haven't seen too much of Richard Simonovic. Late in the second and into the third period, Jaden Grant dumps it in. Evan Murr comes away with the puck. A 4-3 lead now for Minnesota State. Bowling Green back to chasing. Noah Morneau, the most recent goal for the Falcons. The only goal in the second period as well, assisted by Breck McKinley. His 6th assist of the season as the junior defenseman, one of the leaders in points. Actually, second only to Tyler Hodson, who's got 7 with his assist today. His 5th assist, adding onto it 2 goals earlier on in the season. Brody Waters into the right wing corner. Back out to the blue line, held in by Sternberg. Ryman plays the puck to Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer shot in, ranging back as a defenseman. His shot into the blue paint, and it's cleared away by Murr. Ryman gloves, drops the puck, holds it inside the blue line barely, and now it's coming the other way. Here's Sawyer Scholl down the right wing. He's got Lemire in center. Shot from Scholl goes wide of the top left corner of the Bowling Green goal. Psychos' goal assisted by Lemire and Williams. Lemire has 4 points today, 2 goals and 2 assists for the transfer from Western Michigan. Puck pinned up behind the goal. Taking it away is Minnesota State. Benincasa puts it off of his own player's skate. It's dropped down in front of Alex Tracy. Now Watkins, a bit of a breakaway. It's stifled quickly. Bowling Green gets the puck away. Watkins fans on his attempt to get the puck back. Now Brett Foe up down the left wing. He's got Levis with him. Brett Foe moves it in the center. He crosses it across to Jake Sloan, and Sloan gets his stick tied up and couldn't make a play. Brett Foe to Levis. Levis a shot off of the shoulder of Alex Tracy in net for Minnesota State. Psychos pins the puck in the body back behind the goal. Watkins in there as well, battling with Connor Levis. Levis has a goal today, the opening goal of the game at the 2:36 mark in the first period. Skating with the puck into the offensive zone. Minnesota State's shot is covered up by Jacob Steinman with 14:10 left to play in the third period and a 4-3 Minnesota State lead. We'll take a step back real quick here with a 4-3 Minnesota State lead for station identification. You're listening to Falcon Hockey.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Adams Linka in the O-zone. Tyler Hodson leaves it down for Ben Duran. McKinley steps in from the blue line to get the puck away. Mason Wheeler out to the left wing. Norris forces it back down to Wheeler. Wheeler behind the goal, off of Hupka and outside of the blue line. So Bowling Green will have to chase it down. Norris back in his own end of the ice. Breck McKinley, who's got 6 assists on the season and 2 today on the first goal and on the most recent for the Falcons. Emerson, a quick shot in, is blocked by Morick, and it's taken away by Finn Williams. Williams, the alternate captain, played for Notre Dame a few seasons ago, and then had some time in junior hockey as well. Emerson behind the goal line with Bergmanis. Evan Murr skates away with the puck in his own zone. Pass out to center. Controlling it is Braden Crampton, and it's back down to Alex Tracy in his goal. Williams again battling for the puck on the left wing half wall. Dalton Norris up to Max Martin, who dumps it in for Brody Waters to chase. Waters down behind the goal line. Jaden Grant in behind the goal line as well. A lot of time spent today being pressed up against the boards. Both teams victim. Benincasa will not avoid the icing. It will be an icing against Minnesota State. So they will not get a change. Some tired skaters out there as Morick is doubled over, trying to catch his breath. Jacob Conrad and Evan Murr out as defensemen. Watkins, Benincasa, and Morick the forwards. 12:36 left to play in the third period. 4-3 Minnesota State leads. The face-off from Jake Sloan out to the blue line. Shot in is blocked by Watkins. McKinley turns it back around toward the O-zone. Now gets it just in the O-zone, and the whistle will stop play and bring the puck back out to center ice on offsides.
This December, international hockey arrives.
2:58, the time of the goal here in the third period by Campbell Psychos. His first of the season, assisted by Lemire, his 4th point of the game, and his 5th assist of the season. And Finn Williams, just his 2nd assist and 2nd point of the season. The junior centerman out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Levis down the right wing. Conrad chases it down. Leaves it back for Strand. Strand to the left wing. Nice pass out to center ice. Benincasa Gets it into the O-zone. He and Lemire will chase as he gets the backliners a change. Sternberg puck away to Brett Foe. Foe's played a lot of shifts and some very nice ones today. He plays out of control sometimes, but he's been able to find that line today, and he straddled it very well. 11:40 left in the third period. Still a Minnesota State lead. Jordan Rahn in the right wing corner. Bowling Green takes the puck away and out to the neutral zone. Tyler Hodson tries to feed it through center to himself, and Ben Duran will have to battle for the puck. Zetterberg takes it through center on the logo. Disks it out to the left wing. Shot in off of the stick and off of the pads of Jacob Steinman. Down behind the goal for Zetterberg. Zetterberg into the slot. Streaking in was Jack Smith, and he couldn't land the puck on his tape. Now down the right wing comes the Falcons. Puck chopped high in the air. McKinley battling with Tyler Hodson, and a couple of Mavericks for the puck. Down in the left wing corner in the Bowling Green offensive zone. Smith in with Mason Wheeler to peel the puck out and get it outside of the offensive zone. Ron in there looks like he's going to come away with the puck. Crampton keeps it inside the blue line. Flipped up high in the air by Smith. It'll be dropped down by Gustav Sternberg. Sternberg tries to move the puck into the slot. Emerson gets the puck pushed away. Keeps it inside the blue line. Bit more intensity as of the last couple of minutes for this Bowling Green team, who finds himself down a goal with only half a period left to play. Scholl shoots it in, and offsides is going to be called against Minnesota State, I think. And some jawing going on between Morick and Crampton. And a Maverick might be sent off here. It looks like Sawyer Scholl is going to head off for two. The referees are discussing this to see what the call is going to be. Michael Forrest, Tyler Olson, Eric Stadke, and Gabe Hallinan. Forrest and Olson, the referees. Stadke and Hallinan, the linesmen. Sawyer Scholl shooting the puck after the whistle. He's going to get 2 minutes. Luke Strand not too happy on the bench. He's voicing this unhappiness to the referee, but as I've never seen the call like that reversed, I doubt it's going to be very fruitful. Here's the play being shown on the Jumbotron. Oh, just the extracurricular activities, not the actual play. But Bowling Green will go on a power play, and a very big one here as they're trailing by 1 goal with about half of the third period left to play. They came into this period tied 3-3, came out of the first period trailing 3-2. They played very tight with Minnesota State, who's one of the teams to beat in the CCHA. Shot in by Crampton off of the high right shoulder of Alex Tracy. He's so good at saving pucks waist and above. One of the things he does so well. Ryman feeds it across to the left side, and it's skated away by Jacob Stender. The forward takes it down the left wing for Minnesota State. He shoots it into Steinman, who will glove and hold on. 9:59 left to play in the third period. Two players in the box for Minnesota State. Only one penalty being served, though. It is only Scholl that is given the penalty, or at least is going to be serving the penalty. Unsportsmanlike conduct, and then another Maverick sits in the box with him. So the Falcons, I believe, forgot that it was not immediate timeout under 10 minutes left to play in the third because they're on the power play, so they'll get a quick drink of water, probably illegally, and they'll skate back out. Sternberg and Norris playing defense. Noah Morneau, Quinn Emerson, and Brett Foe out there. Some of the best skaters today. They've had the best shifts for the Falcons and find themselves on the power play as well. Quinn Emerson, goals in 2 straight games, both an opening goal in the 2 games against Bemidji State. Brett Foe to play the puck behind the goal. Back out to the blue line. Stjernberg to Norris. Norris holds it inside the blue line. Diagonals it to Brett Foe. Brett Foe fans on a slap shot. Emerson back around to the blue line. Norris keeps it inside again. To the right wing point. Stjernberg now back to the left wing point. Dalton Norris normally plays the right wing for a slap shot on these power plays. Didn't plays it to Brett Foe on the right wing. Foe kind of fans on another slap shot, and it's cleared back down by Minnesota State. Under a minute left to play in Bowling Green's power play. A must score if you're the Falcons. Try to tie this game up and stay tight with one of the better teams in the CCHA. Ryman behind the goal. Finn Williams will put it off the half wall. Could not be held in by the Falcons, but they'll hold the puck in the neutral zone. Dom Ryman, Finn Williams ranging into the O-zone to try and put together a bit of offense on this penalty kill. Under 30 left to play in the power play for the Falcons. Crampton dumps it back. Tyler Hodson, the transfer from RPI, takes it up the left wing. Down into Mason Wheeler. Wheeler clears it away to the other side. It's iced back down by Minnesota State. Minnesota State's got a 90+% penalty kill, and they're putting it on display now. 5 seconds until Scholl comes out of the box. Max Martin takes it just inside the blue line. Now Scholl does step outside of the box. Stjernberg skates directly toward him to make sure that there's not a big breakaway. It's actually going to be Ron that comes out of the box. Still confused as to how the penalties were assessed here. As the penalty is given to Sawyer Scholl officially, and yet it was Jordan Ron that skated out of the sin bin, and still in the sin bin sits Sawyer Scholl. But it's back to 5-on-5. So assuming the next timeout will bring Scholl out of the box. Minnesota State's also continuing to skate down Felix Gavers, who got injured in the opening minutes of the first period. Here's Dalton Norris on the left wing. His shot is blocked by Smith. Here's Max Martin. Max Martin can't hold on to the puck. Lemire skates it away outside of the Minnesota State blue line. Pass in to center, directed high of the goal. Steinman didn't get a shrug on it. Here's 7:40 left to play in the third period. Stjernberg takes it in to get his guys a change. Dumped back by Ron. To the left wing, Zetterberg lost control of the puck. Down the right wing comes Noah Morneau. Morneau has the most recent goal for the Falcons. 10-minute misconduct given to Sawyer Scholl, who still sits in the box. Here's McKinley, the shot in. Bowling Green still with the puck in the O zone. Out to the blue line, Niedermeyer playing defense. Can't keep it in. It's cleared away. Benincasa and Zetterberg up for Minnesota State, but Breck McKinley will skate away with the puck defensively. Now up to the right wing. Minnesota State back in their own zone. Jacob Conrad out to center ice. Jaden Grant with the puck. It's kind of a 3-on-4 the other way for Bowling Green on the left wing. Ice back around by Strand and outside of the Bowling Green O-zone. 6:35 left to play in the third period. Minnesota State leads 4-3. The only goal this period, Campbell Psycho's cleanup goal, assisted by Tristan Lemire and Finn Williams. Lemire's 4th point of the day. He's had a heck of a game for the Mavericks. Jaden Grant down to the goal line. Bowling Green battling behind the goal. The puck is cleared out into the slot and cleared away by the Mavericks. Charlie Lurie on the right wing. Back to Bergmanis, now to Murr. Murr center ice, gives it to Stender. Feed pass back to Stender by Morick is saved by Jacob Steinman pretty routinely. Here's Brett Foe. Foe is hit by both Lurie and Murr. Foe will come away with the puck though, and it gets it back out to the blue line. A nice skate job there by Brett Foe. High shot by Gustav Stjernberg. Down to the goal line again. Foe with the puck on the left wing. High slot. His shot is blocked by Morey. Morey's got a bunch of blocks today for Minnesota State. That's his 3rd. 19 total for the Mavericks. Puck down behind the goal line. Max Martin crosses it into Tyler Hodson, and Hodson has the puck taken away by Minnesota State. Lemire looking for his 3rd, and his shot is gloved by Jacob Steinman. 5:13 left to play in the third period. We head to our third period media timeout, sponsored by Juniper Brewing Company, located at 145 South Main Street in downtown Bowling Green, featuring coffee and craft beer and serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. See the latest menu at juniperbrew.com. 4-3, Minnesota State leads Bowling Green. The Falcons will probably have no goaltender within the last 2.5 minutes or so of the final goings of this third period, searching for their third straight-up win and what could possibly be their third straight overtime game here in the CCHA. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcast on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
Check out bgfalconmedia.com for previews, recaps, photos, videos, and more of the Falcons.
Minnesota State with a big penalty kill a little bit ago. Jordan Rahn came out of the box after another successful one for the Mavericks. Minnesota State coming in to this weekend had a very strong 920 penalty kill. That's 92%. That's probably gone up today considering they've committed just a couple of penalties. Sawyer Scholl, though, still sits in the box. He's serving out a 10-minute misconduct. And it was Jordan Rahn who sat in the box with him to serve the 2 and then came out. So Rahn is not giving credit for the penalty, although he had to do the time. And Sawyer Scholl will sit out for probably the bones of this last third period. Probably will not see ice time again unless the Falcons see overtime. The faceoff is back into the Bowling Green end of the ice. Noah Morneau in against Luigi Benincasa. Benincasa with Watkins and Lemire, a scary first line of forwards for Minnesota State. Sternberg after the faceoff win. Emerson out to center ice. Max Martin down the right wing. The Falcons put together a pretty good amount of offense a minute ago. They held the puck in the offensive zone a bit. Here's an interference call coming against Minnesota State, I believe. Most likely on Max Martin's entry into the offensive zone, and Tristan Lemire will step off. Yep, Lemire goes off. 2 minutes for interference. Fourth penalty of the game for Minnesota State. As Max Martin got knocked down to the ice. So another big power play for Bowling Green, who didn't have any success on the power play in the Bemidji State Series, although Bemidji had quite a large number of penalties. They were not able to find that goal. Grant will get kicked out of the circle. Tyler Hodson will step into the dot and promptly wins the faceoff. Here's Braden Crampton to the left wing, Dom Ryman. Ryman down to the goal line. Being defended by Campbell Psychos. It's Brody Waters. Out to Crampton, now to the left wing, Ryman. Ryman's got some open ice. Down to Brody Waters. Waters centers the puck and can't get a shot off, and it's cleared back down by Minnesota State. Again, as we mentioned, coming into the weekend, a 92% penalty kill percentage for these Mavericks, the better defensive teams. Here's Waters who streaks in. Sorry, that's Braden Crampton who made a shot. Looked like it was going high of the crossbar, but Tracy played it safe, gloved it, and we're going to get a drop in the offensive zone. A minute 30 of power play left to go for Bowling Green at the 4:27 mark. So there will be about 3 minutes left to go in the game when the penalty is expired, assuming Bowling Green doesn't score, and then you've got maybe a minute and a half before Jacob Steinman in the Bowling Green net will look over to the bench. Bowling Green will get an extra attacker. Down a goal, 4-3. Big power play if you're Bowling Green. Minnesota State ices it yet again off of their face-off win. Sternberg back to play the puck. Sternberg and Norris out there pretty good offensive defensemen, which is why head coach Dennis Williams is okay putting 2 defensemen out there on a must-score power play. Foe, Emerson, and Morneau out as well for Bowling Green. And the puck's iced back down again by Minnesota State. A minute left to play in the power play for Bowling Green. Gustav Stjernberg takes it to neutral ice. Leaves it back for Tyler Hodson. Hodson disks it out to the right wing. Moving in tight. Hodson there on the blue paint, and it's cleared out again by Minnesota State. 40 seconds left to play in the power play. A couple of nice clears and nice defensive plays by the Mavericks. Crampton dumps it back for Ryman. Ryman to Hodson. Hodson to the right wing to Brody Waters. Down behind the goal line. Wheeler looks to get it outside of the blue line yet again. An unsuccessful clear from Wheeler. Puck is pinned up against the right wing boards. It's out to the blue line and held in by Crampton. Crampton the shot in. Puck chipped up in the air. Alex Tracy looked to have gloved it and then dropped it. Mason Wheeler behind the goal. Jaden Grant gets the puck taken away from him, and it's dumped back down by the Mavericks. And that'll do it for the penalty to Tristan Lemire. It's back to full strength. 2 power play opportunities for Bowling Green. Neither one of them scored on. As here's a bit of a breakaway for Ben Duran. Duran shoves it down behind the goal line. Battling here with Evan Murr. Keeps it inside the blue line, inside the offensive zone. 2:40 left to play here in the third period. Adams Linka down the left wing. BG's put together some desperate offense, which is some of the best hockey that they play is when they're down in late goings of the third period. They came back inside the 5-minute mark from a 2-goal deficit in the first game against Bemidji State to tie it up 4-4 and go to overtime, inevitably losing in the shootout as here's an icing against the Falcons. But Bowling Green's been impressive in the late stages of games this season. And head coach Dennis Williams commented on that in one of the press conferences against Bemidji. He said the Falcons need to play like they're desperate more often, as that's when they're playing their best, especially offensive hockey. Falcons off the half wall, out to center ice. Taking it through is Stender to the left wing. Shot goes wide right. Psychos keeps it inside the blue line for Minnesota State in the O-zone. It's outside of the blue line for the Falcons. 2 minutes left to play in the third period. Steinman will keep glancing over toward the bench to see when Willie and the rest of the coaching staff are going to pull him. Morick into the O-zone. Stjernberg with the puck. He'll flip it out to center. Dom Ryman looking for possession of the puck in the O-zone. Steinman heading to the net. No goalie for the Falcons. 6 skaters on the ice now and in the play. Down to the right wing. Dom Ryman. 4-3. Minnesota State leads Bowling Green. Braden Crampton to Dom Ryman back in their own zone. They'll have to reset. Minnesota State gets new skaters on the ice. A 6-on-5 for Bowling Green. 1:25 left to play in the third period. Down to the goal line. Hodson rings it around to Dom Ryman on the right wing. Just outside the right wing wheel. Up to the blue line. Crampton can't hold it in. Stender was able to stick his stick out and get the puck over the stick of Crampton. Bowling Green has to reset. Now Ryman back to Crampton at the blue line point. Crampton looks for a shot. Directed down and in. Who got it? It's Noah Morneau. His second of the game. Ties it up at 4 with a minute to go. Number 3 on the season for Noah Morneau, and couldn't really come at a better time. A minute 2 left to play in the third. Initial shot in by Braden Crampton. We'll see a tighter look at this now. Crampton from the high right wing wheel. 3 Falcons in toward the blue paint. Hodson, Morneau, and Quinn Emerson. Crampton and Ryman will get credit for the assists as of right now. And a bunch of the Maverick fans wanting goaltender interference. Luke Strand's going to talk to the referee. Bowling Green's skating their guys out. Tyler Hodson was in the blue paint. Whether or not he interfered with Alex Tracy is up to referee interpretation. Morneau's third of the season, assisted by Braden Crampton, his second assist of the season. And Dom Ryman gets his third assist of the season. So Hodson clearly standing in the blue paint. And we're going to get no challenge from Luke Strand. And Bowling Green will stay at a tie game 4-4. I think if you have the challenge, you got to use it there. Nevertheless, it's a tie game. Bowling Green willing to skate to overtime and take a point against the Mavericks here in Mankato. Back out to neutral ice. Max Martin pushes it into the offensive zone. Campbell Syko is back to collect for the Mavericks. Back as well as Tristan Lemire. The lead pass up to Watkins, who loses sight of the puck. Benning Kaza in the Bowling Green offensive zone. Dalton Norris to McKinley. McKinley flips it away to Brody Waters on the right wing of the Bowling Green zone. Shot high into the glove of Jacob Steinman. 25 seconds left to play in the third. Minnesota State looking to put together some offense of their own. Noah Morneau with the last two goals for Bowling Green. The only goal scored in the second period, and then one of two now scored in the third. 18:57, the time of the fourth goal of the game for Bowling Green. Stjernberg gets the puck off of the face-off win, off the half wall. Down in behind the goal line. Big hit there by Quinn Emerson on the forecheck. Takes out Ralph Spurgmanis. Best chance at getting the puck back there. Evan Murr down the right wing, one of the best defensemen in the CCHA. Emerson collects behind the goal line to Jacob Stender. Stender on the left wing. His shot in is blocked by Stjernberg. Another shot cursory as the horn expired. And a 4-4 tie we have heading into overtime here in Mankato. The Falcons have skated even with the Minnesota State Mavericks and look for their first overtime win of the CCHA season. Take a quick break and bring you back here for 3-on-3 5-minute overtime. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
The football team faces a change in coaching staff with the offensive coordinator Travis Partridge being relieved of his duties, head coach Eddie George announced during Monday's press conference. Partridge was the OC for Eddie George at Tennessee State during the 2024 season. That was only his second season as an offensive coordinator. Unfortunately, our offensive performance is not achieving expectations. We want to thank Travis for his contributions to the Bowling Green program, said Eddie George during the press conference. Co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach Greg Nosel will be calling plays for the team. Bowling Green's offense ranks 9th out of the 13 teams in the MAC with 304.9 total yards per game and 10th with 18.2 points per game. This has been 60 Seconds in Falcon Athletics.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
Ben Korak and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon hockey team throughout the season.
Back here in the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center, Bowling Green and Minnesota State tied at 4 through 3 periods of play. 60 miles complete, and we have 3-on-3 5-minute overtime coming up here in Mankato. The last time Bowling Green was able to come away with a win here in Mankato was Friday, November 1st of 2019. That was an overtime 3-2 win for Bowling Green, although since then, Bowling Green is 0-3 in overtimes against Minnesota State, including the most recent game played between the Falcons and the Mavericks last season on December 7th. An overtime loss for Bowling Green, a 3-2 win for Minnesota State on a goal by Rhett Pitlick on, I believe, a power play, but definitely an overtime and 2 points taken by Minnesota State. So this will be a big 2 points for Bowling Green to net if they can grab it, considering it is against one of the top teams in the CCHA and also the number 16 team in the nation. The only CCHA team to be ranked, although 2 other teams received votes. That's Augustana and Michigan Tech. And overtime coming up. Shots pretty much even. Face-offs won in favor of the Falcons. Penalty minutes in favor of the Falcons. It's rare that you can say that, but the 10-minute major to Sawyer Scholl took him out of the third period of the game, which definitely affected the way the Mavericks played. Although they did play even strength that whole time. But it is a scary unit. And 3-on-3 for Minnesota State. Evan Murr, Luigi Benincasa, and Tristan Lemire. Lemire's got 4 points on 2 goals and 2 assists. His 4th and 5th goals of the season, and his 4th and 5th assists of the season as well. Bowling Green has Jaden Grant, Dominic Ryman, and looks like Gustav Sternberg out on the ice in the orange and brown. Face-off won by Minnesota State. Evan Murr has dropped down to the ice. Lemire will come away with the puck as Luigi Benincasa takes it up the right wing. He elects to dump it back to Lemire. Lemire plays point guard, takes the puck up the left wing to Evan Murr. Murr at the blue line on the left wing boards. He's pressured by Jaden Grant. Dom Ryman now down to the goal line with the puck in his own zone. Lemire ices it back around to Evan Murr. Murr takes steps down to the goal line in the 3-on-3 5-minute overtime. Jaden Grant battling with Evan Murr. Murr still holds on to the puck, but Grant trying his best to pressure him into the boards. Here's some open ice for Luigi Benincasa, who shoots, and it's a block by Gustav Sternberg. Also might have caught a piece of Jacob Steinman as well. Murr down the right wing, slowly skating with the puck. Jaden Grant out there still battling with Evan Murr to try and get the puck back and turn some offense the way of Bowling Green. Tristan Lemire on the left wing, circles back out to the blue line. At the high point, now outside the blue line as he'll let a couple of Mavericks change. Bergmanis gets some open ice down the right wing. He's got Jack Smith on the left. Bergmanis works in. Jack Smith, the shot. Oh, what a save by Jacob Steinman. Morneau, Sternberg, and Ryman giving Jacob Steinman taps as what a save by the freshman goaltender. A 2-on-1 breakaway. A good pass by Bergmanis and a layout save by Steiny. That's a save that'll earn you a job, as there's been 3 goaltenders in rotation for Bowling Green. Cole Moore giving up 3 goals on only 5 saves earlier today. Steinman in relief. Tyler Palmer also showing pretty good things in his time in net this season. Minnesota State skates with the puck with 3:30 left to play on 3-on-3 overtime. Bergmanis plays it to Zetterberg. Zetterberg with the puck, a right winger, to sit down to Jack Smith, who will skate it outside the zone again. Morneau grabs a change. Tyler Hodson on the ice. Jacob Conrad out as defenseman for Minnesota State now. Zetterberg takes it to the high wheel again. Another shot into the chest and the stomach of Jacob Steinman, and he'll hold on to that. 3 minutes left to play in the overtime. Still 4-4 as we had through regulation. Bowling Green has yet to put together any offense. As here's Jacob Sender, Liam Watkins, and I believe Evan Murr, who's back out on the ice for his second shift of the power play. Face-off one back to Bowling Green. So they have possession of the puck for really the first time in 2 minutes played of the 3-on-3 overtime. Tyler Hodson with the puck through center, and he gets the puck mugged from him. A good poke check there by the Maverick defenseman. Jacob Stender down the right wing. Up to Evan Murr. Murr skates with the puck at the blue line. Pressured by Ben Duran. Puts the puck around Ben Duran, works it down the right wing. Duran gets his skates in the way of the centering pass by Murr. Murr still battling on the right wing boards. Duran takes him out of the play nicely. Bowling Green with position on the puck now in their own right wing corner, and the puck is away. Tyler Hodson with the puck now up the left wing. Streaking. working in. Shot. Oh, Dalton Norris with a good shot. And it's off of the pad of Alex Tracy. Silent there in a second for the Maverick fans. 2:12 left to play in overtime. That's the best chance of overtime so far. It's Dalton Norris streaking up the left wing. Grant Crampton and Quinn Emerson on the ice now for Bowling Green. A must-win faceoff for Jaden Grant in the circle. Grant 8-1. Here's Lemire. After a faceoff won by Minnesota State, he's going to outskate Jaden Grant. Lemire will peel away as Grant got back in time in good defensive positioning. Bergmanis back to Lemire. Lemire to Benincasa. Benincasa moves it over into the slot, leaves it back for Bergmanis. The pass across to Benincasa on the right wing. Couldn't get control of the puck enough. Benincasa barely holds it inside the blue line, fires it over towards Steinman, who covers up the puck as Benincasa gives a cursory glance toward the blue paint. 1:40 left to play in overtime. Tight here, and the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center, Bowling Green up 2-0. Minnesota State responds with 3 goals. Bowling Green ties it in the second period, makes it 3-3. Campbell Psychos in the first 3 minutes of the third period makes it 4-3. Bowling Green with an extra attacker scores their 4th goal. It's tied 4-4, and we're in overtime. Gustav Stjernberg to Dom Ryman. Ryman from his own zone. Now takes it up toward the blue line. Doesn't step inside of it yet. Now Noah Morneau takes it in. Stjernberg down to Morneau. Morneau to the goal line. His shot in is deflected by Alex Tracy. A nice play with the right blocker of the senior goaltender. Morneau's got 2 goals. So does Tristan Lemire. Morneau's the lead man up. He's knocked down to the ice by Evan Murr, who got his stick out. Brett Foe back on defense. Here's Alex Zetterberg. Zetterberg at the high point. Takes it to the right wing point now.
1 minute remaining.
Discs it down. Gustav Stjernberg out there playing defense against Alex Zetterberg. Now Evan Murr with the puck. Working in tight with Steinman. Crosses it over. He had a chance. Now Brett Foe will have to come the other way. Brett Foe down the left wing. He's bumped. Good defense there by Tristan Lemire to not commit a penalty, but also stifle the play. 33 seconds left to play in overtime. Behind the goal sits Liam Watkins. Back for Bergmanis. Bergmanis with the puck, takes it out the right wing. 15 seconds left to play in the overtime period. Adams Linka bumping up Bergmanis. Back out to the point. Benincasa back to Bergmanis. He's got a bit of open ice on his left. Working in tight with Steinman. A cleanup attempt by Benincasa. He's spun out of play by Jackson Niedermeyer. Down into the corner as the horn sounds. And 1 point definitely going the way of one of these 2 squads. And the extra point is up for the shootout. Steinman in net for Bowling Green. Alex Tracy, defending goaltender of the year, and net for Minnesota State. The freshman versus the veteran senior. We're going into shootouts. By what I can see on the Bowling Green Athletics page, doesn't look like a single game has been decided by shootout in the history of the Bowling Green versus Minnesota State matchup. A lot of overtimes and a lot of losses for Bowling Green, who trails Minnesota State all-time 11-29-3. And they look for the extra point now toward the CCHA standings. We'll give a quick rundown around the CCHA. Michigan Tech takes a win over Northern Michigan, 4-1. Steven Sardarian with 2 goals in that game. The Huskies take another win. Bowling Green and Minnesota State obviously in a shootout. Augustana with a 4-2 win over Ferris State at Ferris State. And Lake Superior State lost 4-1 to Bemidji State, who's playing back in the Sanford Center in Bemidji, Minnesota. 65 minutes of play, and no winner is decided. So we'll head into shootouts. Tyler Hodson will skate out first for the Falcons. The transfer from RPI after last season is on a 5-game point streak, extended to 6 today. 6 points in the last 5 games with a power play goal. He takes the puck up the right wing, working in tight with Alex Tracy. Into the slot. He scores between the legs of Tracy. Bowling Green's first try is good. Tristan Lemire, the best scorer in the game for either team, has 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists today for Tristan Lemire. He works it up the right wing. The right-handed shot moves over in to Jacob Steinman. Steinman shuts it off. A nice stop by the freshman goaltender. Bowling Green up 1-0 in shootouts through 1 round. Dominic Ryman will step on the ice for Bowling Green now. 1 goal, 3 assists this season for Dom Ryman. He's got an assist today. Takes it up the left wing. The left-handed shot. Works over into the slot. Makes a move but misses the shot. Alex Tracy may have got a stick on it, but the chance unsuccessful for Dominic Ryman. Jack Smith now for Minnesota State. A 6-foot senior, left-handed shot. Transfer from Minnesota Duluth. 4 points in 3 seasons with Minnesota Duluth. Works over into the slot. He shoots off of the post. The iron saves Bowling Green. And the Falcons can put it away here with a goal. Brett Foe will shoot for Bowling Green. The left-handed shot takes the puck off the center dot. He's played very well today. Brett Foe, left-handed, works in. He shoots and is saved by Alex Tracy, no goal. So it comes down to Luigi Benincasa whether or not we're going to see extras. Jacob Steinman in net for the Falcons. Luigi Benincasa, the transfer from Ferris State 2 seasons ago. One of the leading scorers for Minnesota State. Takes it up the left wing. The right-handed shot, works in, he shoots, he scores! Benincasa forces extra shootout. And now Bowling Green at the disadvantage because they have the first shot. Noah Morneau steps onto the ice for the Falcons. Alex Tracy, the senior goaltender, 2024-25 goaltender of the year. Noah Morneau working in. His shot wide of Alex Tracy. Morneau unsuccessful, and now the crowd and the energy into Evan Murr as the junior defenseman from Stillwater, Minnesota, skates out onto the ice for a 1-point shootout. The extra point on the stick of Evan Murr. Works in with speed to try and beat Steinman. Oh, what a move by Evan Murr. He beats Steinman on the left side, and Minnesota State takes the extra point. 2 points for the Mavericks. 1 for Bowling Green. Two of the last 3 games, the Falcons have had to come back in the third period and score an extra attacker goal. They've done so, forced an unsuccessful overtime for both sides, and then lose in the shootout. Only shootout goal scored by the Falcons, Tyler Hodson the first, and Luigi Benincasa and defenseman Evan Murr. The final 2 shootouts for the Mavericks, both good. And Minnesota State skates away with another point over the Falcons. We'll take a step back, bring you back here to the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center for our Bill and Karen Hoffert stars of the game. Then we'll send it back to Artie, Dan, and Nathan back in the Cooling Center studios for our post-game show. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Falcon Media Sports Network will have an in-studio pregame show for all football broadcasts this season, beginning approximately 25 minutes before the kickoff for each game. Make sure to tune in on Falcon Radio for our newly extended coverage.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
This is Falcon Media Sports Network hockey coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM.
The Bill and Karen Hoffert Stars of the Game, presented by Bill and Karen Hoffert, longtime BGSU hockey fans, Falcon Club members, and sponsor of our Stars of the Game this season. The first star of the game, an easy choice. It goes to Tristan Lemire. Lemire had 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 total points on a team-leading 10 shots and 6 shots on goal. He also had a power play goal and 1-0 on his faceoffs. He did take a penalty, but was a very strong player all around for Minnesota State, but especially offensively contributed on all 4 of their 4 regulation goals scored today. No more no, the second star of the game for the Falcons. 2 goals scored, tied with Lemire for the high in the game. He also had 4 shots on goal, which tied for the lead in the Falcons with fellow freshman Connor Levis. He also had 10 face-off wins to 5 face-off losses and a +2 rating. No more no, an all-around very good game today. And then Campbell Psychos, the third star of the game. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, 4 shots, 3 shots on goal, and 1 block for the defenseman as well. Played very well today on a partnership with Mason Wheeler and added a good amount of scoring, his first goal and his second assist this season for Campbell Psychos. All around, a good game played by Bowling Green. They're able to come away with a point against the number 16 team in the nation and one of the top teams in the CCHA as well. 4-4 is a very good game for Bowling Green. Not only that they were able to force overtime against Minnesota State, but because they were able to score 4 goals against a very top defense, and especially see that done with players that either normally aren't really finding their way to the goal sheet, or with freshmen. Noah Morneau scoring 2 goals, Connor Levis scoring 1. Those are 3 of the 4 goals scored by freshmen. A couple of the assists scored by freshmen as well, and Adam Zlinka, who hasn't seen consistent ice time this season, saw it today and scored his first goal of the season today. So that'll do it for myself, Ben Korak, here in the Mayo Clinic Health System Events Center in Mankato, Minnesota. Make sure to tune in tomorrow at 6:45 Eastern Time for our broadcast of Game 2 between the Falcons and the Mavericks here in Mankato. I will be on the call yet again, and we'll have another pregame, postgame, and intermission report show from the Falcon Media Sports Network. I'll say so long right now. Send it back to Artie Abrego, Nathan Burkett, and Dan Ridenauer back in the Cooling Center studios. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Thanks, Ben. So back here at the in the WBGU studio here in the Cooling Center. Unfortunately, the Falcons did lose in the shootout here tonight, guys. Art Rago joined by Dan Ridenauer and Nathan Burkett. So, guys, I mean, that last second goal to get the Falcons to overtime, absolutely crazy, but they just can't get it done in that overtime period. And unfortunately, they fell in the shootout.
Well, and tonight was a night where there was a lot of positives, Artie. There was a lot of negatives. I mean, if you look at the negative side, you blew a 2-goal lead early on. You ended up being down 4-3. And then eventually you lose the game. But if you want to look on the positive side of things, you got that 2-goal lead to begin with. You set the tone against the best team in the CCHA. So you can look at that as well. And then you get your 6 out there with the empty net, and you're able to get the goal to tie things up. And then not only that, you don't just fall right in overtime. You actually force it to a shootout, and you kind of get it going. So, but we're getting to that point where we're kind of getting out from the beginning of the season. You're starting to get a little bit more into it. But, listening to Coach Willie's press conference as well earlier this week is he wants the team to be constantly improving. If you're just going to be stagnant, that's not where teams develop. That's not where teams grow. So there's going to be room for improvement. And I will say that this game was an improvement from last week against Bemidji State.
Absolutely. Not only do you force it to a shootout, you force it to extra shots in the shootout. That's just to go toe-to-toe as far as they did with one of the best teams in the NCAA, number 16 in the country. It's definitely a positive. Unfortunately, they fall tonight, but now keep in mind they have an opportunity to come back tomorrow and do better, as well as at the end of the year, after even more development, they once again will play Minnesota State for their senior night weekend at the Slater Family Ice Arena back in February.
Well, that too, and you also got to look at it that Minnesota State was in the same boat with St. Thomas last weekend, where they took the first game and then lost on Saturday. So maybe we'll see a repeat of that, and hopefully from there, that'll be good for us. I mean, one of those games they played against St. Thomas was a win in regulation and then a loss in overtime. So maybe we'll see, a loss in OT to keep the streak going outside of regulation, or maybe BG will close it out in regulation. But overall, this needs to be a game where Bowling Green can get back on track before things really go against them.
Again, no Falcon should have the Falcons should keep their heads held high. They again went to shootout, claimed a point, and for the CCH standings from the number 16 team in the country. I wouldn't necessarily feel too bad about yourselves. Just go back to the hotel room, get a good night's sleep, and be ready to go tomorrow.
And they'll be ready to go tomorrow as well. And Dan, your point now?
Well, and there's no time to throw a pity party. I mean, you got to get right back into it and go for tomorrow. And and I don't think they are at all. I mean, you're going to think about the loss, and it's definitely going to kind of be almost that chip on your shoulder mentality with Bowling Green going into it. They're going to be a little bit happy with what they've done, but they're also going to realize that they need to get back on track here. So overall, that's kind of going to be my point, is that you're going to have to go back, and you're really going to be looking at it tonight, and you're going to have that just no victim mentality. You need to go out there and work at it.
Absolutely.
And, obviously tomorrow they'll be at it again. But, who really impressed you guys today on the Falcons side of things, just so as we wrap this one up?
No or no. Scoring 2 goals on the night, the freshman, Windsor, Ontario native. He had a very strong game. Breck McKinley, I know we mentioned him in the pregame show. 2 assists brings him up to 6 assists on the season. And then Tower Hodson continues his point streak and continues his team lead in points.
I'm going to go a little bit a bit of a hot take here, I guess I could say, but I'm going to roll with Gustav Sternberg. I mean, getting back into it, took a little time off before Bemidji State and then got back into it. But what I'm really impressed by is he attempted to shoot 8 times. He led Bowling Green in that regard tonight, he was tied with Braden Crampton on that with 8, but still led overall. And I mean, 2 of those ended up being on Tracy tonight, but really just seeing that they're actually getting the attempts from up high is a really good sign, because that's where I feel like a lot of momentum can start that not a lot of teams are going to see, because a lot of teams with the forwards are just going to try to throw it on net and hope good things can happen. You can't do that with Tracy. You got to take it up to the defense and start the play there. And I mean, that's what we saw with the goal with Levis at the beginning, was taking it up to the defense and then screening them and getting a good goal.
And of course, you have to give mention to Jacob Steinman, making 20 saves, only letting in 1 goal while coming in for relief of Cole Moore in the first, coming in cold, mind you, finishes the night with a .952 save percentage.
That's going to do us tonight on the Falcon Media Sports Network post-game show. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow for more hockey broadcasting against words are hard today, guys. I've been messing up my words all day, but Minnesota State will be back again for more action against the Falcons. Obviously, BG Hockey will look to get this one back, get a win on their trip to Minnesota State. But that's going to do us for us tonight. My name is Artie Brago. Thank you for joining us on the post-game show, and have a good night.
This broadcast has been a Falcon Media Sports Network production. For more BGSU sports news and updates, follow Falcon Media Sports Network